humongous, the Lord humongous, the warrior of the wasteland, the Ayatollah of rock and roll.
God speaks to you, his chosen ones.
They used to say a man could fly, he'd have wings. But he didn't fly. He discovered he had to.
I suppose you know what it is about you that fascinates me. It's the hair on your chest. Japanese men all have beautiful bare skin.
Japanese proverbs say, bird never make nest in bare tree.
Do you wish that the first Apollo mission hadn't reached the moon, or that we hadn't gone on to Mars and then to the nearest star? That's like saying you wish that you still operated with scalpels and sewed your patients up with catgut, like your great-great-great-grandfather used to.
Wouldn't it be great if every lettuce and tomato burger came with an oven for the burger and a refrigerator to keep the lettuce and tomato from getting soggy and wilted?
Our idea of vision.
Excuse me.
Just survive.
You know, you look like the head fellow in the cheese dip back in 1957.
Well, you know how these things start. One guy tells another guy something, then he tells two friends, and they tell two friends, and they tell their friends, and so on, and so on, and so on.
You know, switching to Ball State men's tennis, it seems last week player on. It seems every week they have a player.
Could we have the lights turned on? Now this first slave!
Trucker Keels. You get Trucker working. Because he's a funnier character than we've ever had.
I've got one that can sing.
I'm a commander. I can order this.
From laps into 4 winds. Laps from its mountain.
My God is stronger. He is the everlasting sky. Your God lives underneath it.
Good champion and Jeff. And Jeff, happy to welcome you to our program as well. Here are the categories. First off, Jeff, and Jeff.
Let's try Jeff for 200.
Jeff.
What is Jeff?
Yes.
I'd buy that for
You're me.
Oh, shit.
What kind of beer do you like? Heineken? Fuck that shit! Have Blue Ribbon!
He's heading for that small moon. I think I can get him before he gets there. He's almost in range.
That's no moon.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
When are you talking?
My name's Jeff.
It's so dense. Every single image has so many things going on.
The garden is good. Venus is evil.
Can I have your coal? Release the curtain.
ここですか？
違うって書いてあるとこやない。
The imposter is not to be injured. Use minimum force. Repeat. The imposter is not to be injured.
Sie hat der Party, Richter.
Pissing our pants yet? Boy, do I have a feeling we're getting close.
Well, hey there, good people. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope I'm coming in loud and clear. And I bid you all a wonderful evening. I know it's really late. I apologize. Now I'm getting echo! But I just want to start off before I proceed any further with the show. I want to offer Robert J. Morris to say a few words about our friend.
Hello there, guys.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah, it's with a heavy heart. I wanted to just make an announcement. Our good friend Crystal Blankenheim, she just lost her younger sister a couple of days ago, so we would just like to send out our sympathies to her, to Bobby, to both their respective families, and yeah, it's a shame. I just thought people should know.
Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, much love to Crystal and Bobby. She's a friend in the community, so.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's a terrible tragedy, and our hearts go out to you, Crystal, and your family right now. Now, we're going to shift up now, and just to start with, that is a reminder of how precious life is and how you should never take a day for granted. And I have to say, I just finished watching this episode, the second episode here of Fear the Walking Dead, and I think that this is perhaps one of the very best episodes I've seen, not only on Fear the Walking Dead, but The Walking Dead period, and I think it hits some really heavy themes. So I have to say that this show, which opened kind of with a whimper, a lot of people thought, in my opinion, has taken a very deep and sharp turn, and it's got a lot of very, very heavy themes. I think things that we see a lot and fears that we have of this New World Order. So yeah, I really found, I don't know, I'm going to get your guys' opinion here, that I found this episode to be pretty emotional, pretty tense, and just, what it was saying, or what, the characters, the struggles, what they've gone through in this particular episode, I think reflects a lot on what we see happening in the world, and some of the big fears that we have of outbreaks and things like that. So with that being said, I'd like to, of course, just to bid welcome to Press Reset Earth and Robert J. Morris to the show. It's not our usual sort of opening, but I think in a way it kind of reflects on the seriousness of this particular episode. I hope most of our audience got a chance to see it. We're not just going to talk here today or tonight or this morning, because it's going to go into this morning. We're not just going to talk about this particular episode. We're going to talk about The Walking Dead, the Fear of the Walking Dead, the entire series up until now. So we've got one full season, and we've had 2 episodes. And what are the major themes that we're seeing on this show? How, what's the predictive program that we're seeing? What's the just what is this show trying to say, or what does it say? What does it do well? What doesn't it do well? What annoys you about the show? Do you hate certain characters? Do you think, that there's been some stupid decisions made in all this? But yeah, of course, the heavy themes. So with that being said, guys, what was your take? I don't know who wants to go first here, but
I'll say this.
You saw it first.
Yeah, I saw it live. I saw it.
I'm 22 minutes in, so.
Oh shit! Are you serious?
Yeah, I got the link, and then a couple things came up here tonight. It's been busy down here at my end.
Well, don't worry. Then I guess I'm gonna spoil it.
I'm not worried. Don't worry.
But we had to go because it is so late, right? And so many people have been waiting for so long. So, but yeah, Chris, please go ahead.
I was just gonna say. I was just gonna add. I was gonna say that the fans of the show are gonna really hate me tonight.
Maybe not. There's a lot of people that have been very critical of it, but Press, please.
Yeah, I want to say this. Obviously, before we get into like the actual, bread and butter here of what we think about the show and analyzing it, and showing different motifs and symbolism and themes and stuff. With Fear the Walking Dead, it's only the second season, and there's only been 8 episodes, maybe 10.
8.
Yeah.
8. Yeah. So we have to remember, the show is going to take a while to grow on people, because even with The Walking Dead, the first season, although a lot happened, it took a while to build up. And if you compare like the first season to now, it's not quite as dramatic, I don't think. Because now it takes a while for a show to develop, and for the characters not only to grow on you, but to show their weaknesses and to show how they overcome their weaknesses and stuff like that. So I think a lot of what a lot of people are reluctant to take liking to Fear the Walking Dead, because it's still new and it's still developing. So to keep that in mind. I'm glad, sort of, because if you look at like The Walking Dead, like every episode you're on the edge of your seat. It's developed into quite a television show. And then with Fear the Walking Dead, it's still in the development stage. You're still getting to know the characters, I think, and I think that takes time. And you'll see that with any new TV show, the first few episodes aren't going to capture your imagination. It takes like a season or two, I've noticed, with most TV shows. So keep that in mind if you're reluctant to find Fear the Walking Dead as appealing as The Walking Dead.
I would actually say that I would say that watching the first season, it was very, very slow. It took a while for things to start happening. It seemed to take forever for the main characters to realize that they were actually in a zombie apocalypse. And I think a lot of us as spectators are watching the show, and we know what's going on, and we're screaming at the characters, get a fucking brain, don't go and try and fucking help that zombie, it's gonna fucking chew your face off, sort of thing. But I gotta say that this show, it's not based on the comics, so it's something that's grown out of the series, and in many ways, I have to say that there's more meat, I think, happening here, and maybe people aren't catching on to it, but I think this episode was it was heavy, and I'm gonna get into why it's so heavy. I think the whole interactions with the anthropologist and his family, or the amateur anthropologist and his family, and the themes that it meant, that this guy who wanted to get away from civilization and what they're trying to do. I mean, the major theme that's happening right now in this show is that they have to get as far away from civilization as possible. And in a way, the anthropologist in this episode, the amateur anthropologist who is so in tune with his, he's got so many books, and he immediately recognizes that the what's his name character there is Maori, right? So I mean, that was like that alone, that whole sort of theme that's in it, and the fact that he actually moved himself out of civilization and had been preparing for this forever.
The almighty prepper, eh?
Yeah, and taught his family, and they were ready for this, and yet even though they're ready for this, it's gonna fucking wipe them out. Because they're, because of what they are, because of what they believe in. Like, what I imagine a shitload of fucking idiotic television, writers and shit all over the internet are not going to get these themes. The theme here is about keeping family together, and this is what the New World Order is trying to eradicate.
Yeah,
by
the
and
family
large.
unit. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, so this is why it's a heavy episode, because you have this guy, and this is his philosophy, and he believes that people should be like, they should live where they are, they should stay where they are, they should build their own lives in their own community, and they should have pride in themselves. And that's why he says to the Maori guy, because I mean the main character there, what's his name?
Travis.
Travis.
Yeah.
And he's a good character and a great actor. This guy has been in a lot of really good movies, like Training.
I think he's one of the better actors that have been on the show, which irritates me, because I'll go on about my opinions later.
He is a very slow to adapt character, but he is a good person, like, by and large. He just doesn't understand the breadth of what he's under, what he's in. But the thing is that the anthropologist, I'll just call him anthropologist, even though he's not an anthropologist technically, he's more an amateur one. But
his
the
name's
fact
George,
that
I think his name's George.
Amateur, lots of shit.
George, but it's important to understand the anthropology aspect to it, because he talks now. One of the things that he talks about is that this is meant to happen. He knew it was going to happen. They were waiting for it to happen. So this is all heavy themes. I mean, you're coming from the truther community. This is what people live on a daily basis. I mean, when you talk about Christian truthers, you talk about preppers, they all think that the end of times are here. So what this guy is saying in this episode is that we knew this was going to happen. We were waiting for it. We prepped. We took ourselves away from, from the cities, from civilization, to become self-sufficient. But you notice, and then of course when they're looking at how close they are to the mainland, and what are they across from? A massive tourist beach sort of resort area, and all, of course, inevitably, and this is what it's saying about civilization, is that like inevitably anything that's beautiful, that's sacred, gets fucking destroyed. It gets overtaken by the masses, sort of thing. And so
Well, we saw it over and over again, and I love how this episode references the Black Plague. And it's so similar. It's exactly what I think his name's George, the prepper guy. It's exactly what he was saying. And then his not his daughter, but Travis's daughter. What's her name there? Alicia, I think. Alicia Clark. Yeah, the teenage daughter talking to George's daughter, the prepper's daughter, little girl, young daughter.
Yeah.
And she asked, "What was the Black Plague?"
Yeah, a pocket full of posies.
What was a pocket? Oh no, she asked, "What was a pocket full of posies?" Yeah,
that's right. So they gave the poor flowers, and they told them that if they were to eat them or ingest them, that they would, be cured.
Yeah, this is during the Middle Ages, of course. But for those of you that don't know, the Black Plague, that's what that child's rhyme is all about. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posies.
Yes.
It's about during the Black Plague, in the Middle Ages, during that horrible time. That's one of the songs they would sing to like children and just to each other. Because that's what they were going through. It was about people dying from the plague. Ring around the rosies, pocket full of posies. They had posies, which are flowers, in their pockets because they were told by medicine doctors and stuff. Very very primitive form of
doctors. Yeah.
Witch doctors and stuff, that if they kept the posies in their pockets, the roses, whatever, that they would be saved from the plague. But of course that's not true. But yeah, that's very similar. It's very similar to what's going on in the show with the zombie apocalypse. Obviously it's like a plague, the Black Plague. So I think that was a very very interesting motif.
And then the son, of course, at one point, when the drug addict kid there, Nick,
my favorite character, by the way,
Nick, who's becoming a much better character, and it's nice to see that. When he's looking at the action figures, and they all have
that, by the way, looks like Johnny Depp's clone, eh?
Yeah, he does, absolutely. Actually, yeah, that's what I was thinking. He's like a Johnny Depp clone. He looks just so much like him, right? But that scene, and then he talks that we have the magic, or I don't know what he called the pills, but they were like the super pills or something. And
and he was referring to the suicide pills, the little kid, the prepper's kid there, saying that they had the magic pills that would make them strong. And see, look, I want to just interject here and talk about the programming involved with this prepper character and his family. I think look, prepping and all that, and I that's something that I'm on board with. I actually have storable foods and everything that I would need in case of an emergency.
For how long?
Well, for about 6 months or so.
Well, that's not bad. That's better than me, but.
Yeah. But
is that long enough? That's not prepper though. Prepper would have years.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, it's not a. Yeah, you're right.
You're like a makeshift prepper. You're a half. Prepper.
I'm like
prepper junior.
I'm like a poser prepper.
You're a poser prepper.
I'm not like all the way like.
You know what you are, Tom? You're a pocket prepper.
Yeah.
Pocket prepper.
Pocket full of posies, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, so like the programming here though, which it's sort of the dark side of the prepper, or of the prepper character in the show, that he had these suicide pills, and it was inferred that he was planning on basically having him and his family take the pills, basically, and that's where the program like it's sort of trying to paint the Prepper as a dark character in a way, even though, deep down, obviously you could tell he was a good man, and he was even, in the show, supposed to be portrayed as a well-intended man, but deeply flawed in that ideology he had. That
was though. You know what he was deeply flawed in, and this was the part that really disturbed me, was because he said it was natural and they were waiting for it to happen. Okay, now why that is disturbing to me is because there is an anthropologist from the University of, I think it's Washington, D.C., or I don't know exactly which university.
Georgetown, I think. Yeah, Dr. Pianka.
Yeah, that guy, Pianka. That's it. And he came out and he said that Ebola is like the salvation for the planet, sort of thing, or something like Ebola, like a more advanced Ebola would be a salvation for the planet, and that he said that, and this is what scared me, because, this guy, this George, right, this anthropologist guy, he's a good guy, he's a good father, he's a good worker, provider, he's smart, he's wise, he's a good family person, all these things, but yet that was his belief, like, and I think that is that disturbs me, that people of academia think that way.
Oh,
I think that's.
Yeah, I think it was who was it? Was it Prince Charles or no? I forget who it was. It was somebody from the royal family, one of the royal families in Europe, that said if he could come back as any creature, in a next life, it would be like a massive virus that would wipe out like 80% of humanity. I forget who it was that said that, but I mean, in the elite, there are people who really do believe in this, that we have to reduce the population to 500 million, and the best way to do that would be a massive outbreak of some sort to kill off a bunch of people, billions of people, and yeah.
That's what scares the shit out of me, because
wasn't that one of the Bilderbergs?
Yeah, well, a lot of them think that way. Okay, I mean, Ted Turner's a great example. He said it many, many times that there should be a one-child per family limit, and that we should be ideally 500 million or under 1 billion. Yeah, a lot of them think that way, and of course Bill Gates and
Prince Philip. That's the guy who said
Prince Philip.
Yeah, he would like to come back as a virus to wipe out like 70% of humanity.
That's an awful.
That's a horrible thing to say.
That is just awful.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's so awful because, when that's us, okay? It's not the other people. It's not the sleeple. It's not the sheeple. It's not, it's us. I mean, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about us. So they're saying that they want to live in a world without us, and that fucking bothers me a lot when you hear that, because it's not going to be them. It's obvious it's not going to be them that are going to be sterilized. It's not going to be them that are going to be cancer to death and all these different things, right? It's going to be us. And that is, like, that mindset, that eugenicist mindset, is one of the most evil things out there. And that scares me when there are people, like a lot of people of really, huge power, like the monarchies, like the Bill Gates, like the Ted Turners out there, that have that mindset, and that they could be conspiring to do something that would be like that, would, like they've weaponized Ebola. Like, that's where Ebola came from. It's a weaponized sort of a virus that they created. So, like, that they could create something that would either turn us into zombies or would just outright kill us, makes me like that. I don't want to go around thinking that. Like, I don't think anybody should think that way, and that's why I come out and I kind of slam Christian fear porn, because I say, you know what? If you go with that mentality, you're gonna think every single fucking day that the earth is gonna end, and it's a terrible mindset to be in. And
guys, I just wanted to say this to the listeners. If you guys want to learn more about that, look up the Secret Virus program from, I think it's 66 to 1978.
Yes.
Check that out.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what? I don't know if that specifically is related to like Plum Island, but they were doing a lot of biological experiments on Plum Island. Eric Traub from Nazi Germany was involved in that throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s. It's an island off the coast of like Connecticut, and that's where Lyme disease comes from as well.
That's where they were working on the ticks.
You have Lyme disease, right, Tom?
Correct, I do, yeah, and that's why I know so much about that whole, scandal.
It's like another Jekyll Island.
Oh, it's the most provable, possibly the most provable.
Is that where the movie Shutter Island is that the same thing?
I don't know. I haven't seen it, but Plum Island was shrouded in mystery and in scandal as well because of Lyme disease. It was a bioweapon that either intentionally or accidentally was released and basically got onto the mainland, and now it's a huge epidemic in the Northeast here. Lyme, and people get it and they don't even know they have it till years later, and it's hard to get rid of. So, it's really hard to get rid of. So, but they have this, these elites in the West and across the world. They have this ideology that we're the useless eaters, and it would be better to get rid of us. It's like this intellectual, superiority complex they have. Although they are very, very intelligent, many of them. The elite, they sort of feel that they're better than everybody else, and they're not about helping their fellow human, even if they're less intelligent, but they're about killing them off and just owning the world. That's the mentality they have. It's very, very evil. It's eugenicist mentality. It's so sick.
And that's the danger of having centralized power, and that's where the New World Order is moving everything towards, and that's why, we have things such as truthers, because we're conscious of this globalization that's happening, and then we're conscious of the types of characters that make up this power structure, and we don't even see the top of the pyramid really ever. I mean, we don't really know. I mean, maybe we could speculate the Rothschilds, Rockefellers.
That's a great segue, because that's my problem with this series now. Is remember last 2 weeks ago when we talked about the other one? We basically came to the conclusion that this was Rick Grimes' story in that show. It was kind of from his perspective. It's all about his story, right? Here, I don't know whose story this is.
The junkie. I think it's the junkie story.
Yeah, maybe.
Because look, this is where I see that character going. I see a really good character being developed with him, because he's going to be, and I can already tell, and I'm sure you would agree, you guys would agree, he's going to be the flawed hero. He's going to be like the hero.
Yeah. Well, they made a point of that in the very first, the premiere in the second season. They made a reference to him saying that he was perfect for this world because he's already lived it in his drug addiction.
He's already, he has no fear and all that. And I think that's, when developing a character for a TV show or for a novel or anything, especially one that plays the role of the hero, you have to have some sort of major flaw that makes the character human, and that's, it's the most human type of flaw. He's an addict, and but at the same time you can tell like he's going to develop into like a really important character. And,
it's like tonight's episode. You thought, and I thought for sure, I'm sure everybody else did, that he was trying to find a high.
Well, he was, yeah.
No, but he wasn't.
You don't think?
No, he was trying to find the fucking pills.
I'm not sure, really. Because
no, he was, because that's what he was looking for. He was looking, like, you didn't realize that until he found them. You thought he was frantically looking for a high, but no, he was actually looking for those pills, because that's what he found, and he found them in the globe.
I'm not so
Flat
sure.
Earthers will go. They'll go ape shit on.
I'm not so sure because
Yes, because then he stops, right? And he's got the pills, right? Or I guess he put them back because obviously the little girl went and took one. But the thing is that that's what he was looking for. We're led to believe that here's the junkie going again. This is what I'm trying to say, is that he actually did a really good thing, and he's actually starting to come around and be a good character. Is because you're thinking, well, he's just trying to get a high. He's just trying to get a high. But he wasn't. He was actually trying to find the fucking suicide pills.
I see
they
the
were
thing-
there.
To do what with?
I think
He wanted to know if they existed because he heard it from the boy. Okay, so this is what happens. Okay, let me explain it. So the boy tells him the story when he's looking at the action figures that we have the super pills, and he's like, oh shit. But he doesn't know for sure. But because he's a junkie, he can recognize what every pill is, because that's what he does. Every time he goes into a house and he breaks into a medicine cabinet, he's like, what's this? He can recognize the pills by their colors and shit like that. So that was a really great scene because I thought it too. I didn't realize until he found them, and then till later, then he was on the boat, on Strand's boat, and he said, they have suicide pills, and because I'm a junkie, I found them and I was able to identify them. So he wasn't looking for a high. He didn't get high. He was actually trying to find if they actually had suicide pills, and they did.
I don't know if there's any way to really confirm whether or not he was looking for a high, but I think
he stopped. He found the pills in the globe, and then he stopped. The little girl came in and said, "Let's draw," and he said, "Okay." And then, first he said,
"Well, that's why he stopped, because the little girl came in." Remember?
Yeah, but that's what he was. I believe that's what he would, because he did that right after the boy told him. So the boy told him, and then the next scene that he's in, he's looking everywhere in the pills. So he was trying to find the suicide pills, because obviously he was worried about what was going to happen to the kids.
Well, I think the point is, though, and this is what I believe. Whether or not he was looking for a high in that scene, or looking for the suicide pills, I think it's going to be a factor in the show, in his character, in the future. Like, he's going to have to still battle that addiction.
Yeah, he still got it, but I think that was thrown in there. Like, I think they were throwing a curveball.
I think they're going to do it differently this time around, because they already did that with Bob in the other series.
Yeah, no, Bob wasn't really that. Like,
I think
he was an alcoholic. But they did that with him.
I can see. I think a lot of people will agree with you guys, press for sure, that's what he was doing. I thought that too. That's exactly what I thought. And then I thought afterwards, holy shit, no, he wasn't. He was actually looking for the suicide pills because he wanted to know. He wanted to know if this guy was actually going to fucking kill his family.
Maybe you're right. You might be right, because, yeah, I mean, you might be right on that, because...
And that's the whole thing. That's why when he... Look, the guy is doing things... This is what the character is, okay? So this character, Nick, who's flawed and causes a lot of trouble in the first season, he actually becomes extremely useful to Strand, first because Strand recognizes how his addiction makes him somebody that can do things, right? Because he's got that drive in him, because he has to get that high sort of thing, so he uses him. But you saw in the first episode where he swam into the boat that was shot up.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. He without even thinking. Yeah,
and he went in there and he got the ship log, and the ship log, of course, I know he almost killed himself and stuff like that, but he got the ship log. The ship log told them that San Diego was burned out, and then they got that confirmed by the anthropologist, right? George. He told them. He said, "Oh, it's all," and that guy George was. I mean, like, the show is actually, this episode was bang on. I mean, they fucking nailed it, and it's, if people don't get this, they're fucking daft. I mean, like, what they showed here, like, almost every scene had such deep meaning. I was blown away. I was like, holy fuck! Like, you go from the pocket full of posies, and then you've got George. And the Maori and the whole thing, and then he's showing the map and he's saying all these places are burned out. Like, if they don't, these are plot details that you must have to move the story forward. Their survival depends on all this. There's no filler. What we got in the fucking Walking Dead, the stupid ass this last season of The Walking Dead had 90% filler. It had all these things that didn't need to happen. None of them changed anything. Even the where the girl, the doctor or the makeshift doctor was fucking shot. It was all stupid. Like it just seemed like it didn't need to happen. Like, you know, and it could have been done in a much more condensed way. Whereas with this show and what you have in this episode is you have every scene deep with symbolic meaning, all about what we're talking about: the New World Order, prepping, pirates. What family, keeping the family together, like, where do you draw the line? I mean, what are you here? What are you living for? Right? I mean, like, this character that they introduced here with his family was huge. I mean, it's massive to the whole story. And I don't know where, like, I can't say that they're not going to have, like, a bunch of episodes with fucking filler in them like The Walking Dead did this season. I lament that because I look at The Walking Dead and I see, like, there's moments of greatness within The Walking Dead, and there's some really good story arcs, but there's a lot of filler.
Really good episodes leave you almost sick. Like they leave the pit of your stomach almost, kind of like, and you almost feel like ill.
Yeah.
Like some of the really good ones, like you just start getting this overwhelming sense of dread. Yeah,
and like, yeah,
the cleverly written ones anyway.
The scene there also, when you think about Cliff's son, right? Now I'm gonna go to my notes to know his name. The Maori kid, right? And he's becoming another really strong character. And you saw him on the beach, and he was with the pickaxe, and he was taking out the fucking walkers. And
I think he's going to be trouble, actually.
Of course, there's going to be trouble.
He's going to be he's going to be a little bastard.
But I'd like to see a show, like, I have to say, like this.
I think his name's Tobias.
Tobias. Is it Tobias? Okay. I've got all the names written down here somewhere, but I got a little notepad here with all this shit on it. But yeah, I think I really have to say, like, this episode really, instilled my faith.
Christopher, that's the name.
My faith in this. I think it's. So you got Travis.
Yeah, Christopher's the son.
It's Chris. It's Chris. Yeah. Matt.
Yeah, that's who it is. Yeah, it's Chris. My bad. Yeah, he's a very interesting character. I think with him, he's going to develop into a really brave character as well. And you saw in the first season this sort of he's sort of like a rebellious character. Like he represents the youth, I think, very, very well. He was at the protests and stuff.
Yeah.
And he was filming, a lot of the situations that were playing out and trying to, expose injustice and stuff. I think he's really a good character, and you're going to see him develop into something that's going to be really important, obviously.
I think
I think where I think they're going to go with him. Yeah, sorry. I think where they're going with him is his whole purpose now is going to be fueled by revenge because of his mom, and he's going to have a chip on his shoulder with the dad. And in my opinion, I think what they're going to do is build on that. Now we know how that usually works out for people, right? When they do everything based on revenge.
Yeah. I think
I could see him getting killed at some point.
I think we're finally getting to the point in this, and Press did a great job talking about that when we were talking earlier about how it takes time and how we're finally getting to that point in this show where the characters are being fleshed out.
Doesn't anybody feel like they glossed over something? Like I think there was a missed opportunity with that show because it allowed us to see the breakdown of humanity as we discussed last, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean,
and then they went to like zombies in Waterworld here, and then then suddenly now we're like skipping to season 4 of The Walking Dead here. You know what I mean? Like already everyone's like it's like almost like they fast forwarded through a bunch of stuff. It's really bizarre.
I don't have that feeling. I don't know if you've had the full chance to watch the whole episode. Yeah,
I should watch it in the background while you
you
guys are
should
yakking.
you know what? You should time out and watch it because we'll probably be talking for quite a bit of time here.
I got about 20 minutes left of it, so yeah.
Why don't you time out and watch it? And we don't want to spoil it for you. I probably already have, but time out, Rob, and catch the rest of the episode because I really think we have I think we have by far the best episode of the Fear of the Walking Dead, without a doubt in my mind. This episode to me is a culmination of everything that's been happening, and it has so many themes. When we talk about the New World Order, when we talk about prepping, truthers, all these things, viruses, like all these things are coming together, and there's like, there's so much meat here if you to dig in, and that's a difference I think that you have with this particular show as opposed to the comic book show, which is based on a comic book. It's extremely well done, and we've gone through many of the different esoteric meanings with that show, all the symbolism, all the programming and shit like that. But I think they've condensed it in this show, and we're getting something that's a lot more than meets the eye, and I think a lot of people, it's going to fly right over their heads what they're showing here. When they talk, this is all about family. Like, this episode here is about family. Like, that's the tragedy. I mean, think about, well, okay, Rob, you got a timeout. Can you time out? Because
am I getting timed out here in the corner?
You have to watch the end. You have to see it because you don't have a compass. You're not.
Yeah, I'll do that right now. Okay.
Right now. Watch the last 20 minutes.
And I just wanted to point out to listeners, last time that we talked, we were talking about Negan's gang there. Good eye on one of the listeners there. That one character was none other than Stephen Ogg, who plays Trevor in Grand Theft Auto 5.
No way!
That's him.
No, okay, which character?
Negan's second, I guess.
The guy with the beard?
Yeah.
Or the mustache?
No, the guy with the mustache, yeah.
Yeah, that guy's awesome. Yeah, awesome! I love that guy. I was like, yeah, this guy's going to be awesome.
I was like, I know that voice. And then, yeah.
So you time out, Rob. Catch the rest of the show, because I really want to talk about the ending.
All right.
And you have to see what happens. Because
absolutely.
That's what it's all about. So,
all right, back in a few, guys.
All right, great. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, the theme, the family theme, and that, to me, made this episode powerful. It was like, you see the dilemma that people are faced with in a situation of survival. What are you willing to survive for? What, like, if you have family, that's an anchor, but it's also an anchor. You know what I mean? Like, an anchor is a great thing, but then, like, so you look at let's compare two characters, Press, here. Strand, the innovative, sort of sociopathic, swindler.
He seems like he's somehow stolen or committed some sort of crime to acquire that boat.
Yes.
And like he's just such a shady character.
I don't think he's necessarily a bad character.
No, I don't think he's evil. No, I don't think he's evil, but I think he
is sociopathic.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that is a strength and a weakness. So what I'm saying is this: let's compare Strand to George. So you have, and let's skip out everybody else, and you have George, the anthropologist, who had an ideology and knew that this was going to happen and spent his whole life preparing for it, and yet the thing that keeps him grounded and keeps him what he is the thing that's going to kill him, which is his family. So in the end, his family kills him. I mean, it literally kills him. His daughter eats his mother, and the mother must eat him, because in the end, that's why I wanted Rob to step out there. In the end of the episode, which is very, very powerful, is you had that scene on the on Strand's boat yacht, fucking super luxury yacht, where you have the elder son who is prepped and is in survival mode, and that has made him sociopathic. And so when you first see, I don't remember his name. If you know it,
Seth.
Tom, please let me know. But
the son's name is Seth.
Seth. Okay, so Seth, when you first meet him, he's very cold. Like he doesn't, like he's the way he interacts with his mother and the Kim Dickens character there. I'm still learning the names here of these characters. But what's her name? Madison. Madison, and she's going to be a very strong character, obviously, in this film.
She kind of like she kind of pisses me off though, because like I don't know if you noticed, but during and this is toward the end of this episode, before the mother of those two children, the anthropologist's wife, before she even asked Maddie to take the children, Maddie was already plotting to take the children from them. Do you remember that? And I was like, I mean, it was in one scene she was talking to. Well, it was right when the junkie there told Maddie, his mother, and Travis about the cyanide pills.
Yes.
And she was like, she looked at Travis and was like, we gotta take them, we gotta do something. And this is before she even discussed it with the children's mother. So it's like,
yeah, but
right away you see that sort of
point, though. I believe she has a point because if you know that the father, and it's a patriarch, right? He's the head of the family. There's no doubt about that, and it's not a bad thing. He's a strong father. He's a good father. He's providing. They live in paradise, like it's beautiful, right? And all that, but their world is crumbling, and he knows it, right? And the elder son knows it, right? But he's hard. He's become hard because of what he's had to do, and he's the one that's had to kill, presumably, all their friends and relatives, right, in the community. And that's where the kid, I mean, it's deep what they're showing. All the kid with all the action figures, and each one is one of the people that was in their little town, their little village, their little commune
that they had to kill off. Yeah. I mean, still, it's not. This is where the dilemma comes in, of course. Are you going to be overly altruistic, and but like it's a little too far to say you're going to take somebody's children away from them without their permission.
But she's a mother, so she has that maternal, motherly instinct, right? So I can totally see it myself. I mean, like, I would even think that, because first you think, well, the children, think about the child. Of course, mothers naturally think about children. I can see what you're saying. I don't think it's unrealistic for her to think that way. I think that's just kind of a natural way that people would react to a situation like that. But she seemed to be a step ahead anyways, the character Madison, because she knew that it was the mother that sent the signal, and that the mother didn't send it once, she sent it twice, which meant that there's something sinister that's going on. There's something behind the scenes. Like, that's a plea for help. That's not like, whoops,
so she already knew that the mother sort of wanted
that. Was the scene with them gardening where they were picking or pruning the peppers, right, that they had, garden sort of thing. So I think, it's an interesting thing, but this is what this whole episode is about, and this is why it's heavy shit, because when you look at what the anthropologist represents, he basically represents preppers, truthers, preppers, people that know that shit's going down and are preparing, but have families. So what do you live for? Because this is what I'm talking about. You have the comparison, the contrast, if you will, between Strand. You have the Strand, who presumably is the Playboy millionaire, who has the yacht, however he got it, sort of thing, right? He's obviously crooked. We don't know exactly what his character, but we know he's not entirely evil, because he has taken people, and he has, they would all be dead if it wasn't for him, sort of thing. So he did, but that could have been part of his sort of manipulation, being a sociopath, where he's like, I'll use these people to reach an end. I think he's a complex character, and I don't think we know, and we're gonna find out over time what this guy's really about. But we've seen some acts of goodness from this guy and some acts of absolute fucking total fucking sociopathy. So it's an interesting character. I think he is one of the most interesting characters. In fact, if you, I don't know if people remember this, but his first appearance in the show is one of the most memorable appearances in all the Walking Dead, for my money. Do you remember that, Press, when he first came on the scene?
What was it? I know it was probably, I'm presuming, in the jail, or was it the jail? Was it
the military camp? Yeah,
the military camp. Yeah, where the junkie was, and the junkie met him.
Yeah. So he was dressed to the nines, right? So you knew that this guy had a lot of wealth and that he's alpha male-ish sort of character. And his quote, because he's talking to a guy that is weak-minded, and the guy that he's talking to is a sheeple. All right. So this is the first scene with this guy Strand. It's a great scene, actually. It freaked me out when I saw it. I was like, is he supposed to represent Satan, or what is it? Like I was trying to figure him out. But what he says to this character, so they're in the prison, right? The makeshift prison there, a makeshift sort of prison camp for that.
It was a FEMA camp, basically.
Yeah, the FEMA camp sort of thing. And he's in he's in a fence sort of cell with Nick, the junkie, and another guy. The other guy is a sleeple. He's a overweight, 40-something-year-old man, family man. Okay. So what he says to the guy, I've got the quote here. I'm going to read it out. I'll try to do it with a bit of drama to emphasize what he was saying.
Lord Supreme Commander.
So this is what he said to the guy. So this is the introduction of, and I can't play this because we'll get the copyright strike, but he says, fire, earthquake, flood. You bought it all, didn't you? That's not a question. I'm not asking. I'm telling you. I look at a person like you and I know you're a buyer. How do I know? Because I'm a closer. I can sell anything. Ask anyone. Except insurance. Can't stomach it. Preying on people so weak, so frightened of the future that they entrust their protection of their family to a piece of paper. To some promise of a corporation. What kind of man does that? Puts his wife and children and hands into the hands of a stranger, people he's never even met. Then one day, the man is gone. His family is alone. The wolf comes to the door. And well, no one is covered up for that. Douglas, what's wrong? Buck up. I think you found the bright side. I presume this is the wife. And he shows the photo. Did Maria keep herself up? Her figure? Douglas? Her shape? Does the current Miss Douglas resemble the women in the picture? See there now? I said your luck is changing. Absolutely. A body like that, it's just a ticket to help her latch on to the kind of man that's going to help her all through this. And by the time he finished saying that to the fat sort of sheeple, bearded, 40-something-year-old man, he was a quivering bowl of jelly.
Yeah, I remember that. It was like a soliloquy. It was really interesting. It was so profound when they showed that. It's like this guy, he knows something. I have a feeling that he may somehow know the origin of the outbreak.
Yes, he does. I think he does. I think you're absolutely right. In fact, that's why he was prepared.
Yeah, exactly. I think they got really lucky running into this guy because he knows what's going on. And it would be so interesting if they revealed, his connection to that, and they revealed the source of the outbreak, because I don't think they ever did that in The Walking Dead. No, they didn't. Right? I mean, they went to the CDC with that guy in Atlanta, but they never revealed the source of it. They just revealed more information about the outbreak, how the CDC couldn't handle it, and how even if you die from natural causes, that you would turn into a zombie. Everybody has it.
Yes.
But wow, I wouldn't be surprised if it was revealed somehow that it was, like some sort of there was some sort of criminal element involved with the outbreak. Trying to sell this deadly virus to the highest bidder on the black market or something, and he was involved with it. I don't know. But yeah, I think he definitely knows something.
Oh yeah. I think they're building that up. In fact, he had that conversation on the cell phone. He said, "I'll be there, by tonight or whatever." Right. So he already has a plan, and he's already going somewhere. All right, and he hasn't let anybody know. But that's where the character of Daniel Salazar comes in. The fucking
Spanish guy,
the kick-ass fucking barber there.
Yeah,
don't fuck with that guy, man.
So
don't fuck.
He's
good, man.
Yeah, I like him because it's just like such a. It's like that sort of it's almost like he embodies this sort of like Mexican warrior, in a way, or almost a little bit like some sort of henchman. Like I don't know if henchman is the word I'm looking for.
No, what I see with him, and I think he's one of the best characters on the show.
Definitely.
And we did, like in the first season, he was the one that went to the extremes. So he had lived through. Now, I would assume it's Mexican drug cartels that.
That's what I was gonna say when I said henchman. I was gonna say that he reminds me of some sort of like henchman for like a drug cartel or something.
Yeah, he's been to war.
Yeah,
there's no doubt about that. So that's why he understands. Like he's done what he did before. He had experience doing torture. So he was not, he's not a good or evil or anything. But he's not a clear cut good man. He is somebody that has gone through hard times before and has had to do extreme things. And I think that like he has been there, and that's why it's his act of torturing that soldier that I think his daughter was having an affair with, that gives them the knowledge of what's going on, that they're gonna fucking kill them all, right? That they're going to abandon the military camp and they're going to fucking nuke it, or they're going to napalm it, right? And you see that in the beginning of the first episode of the second season. They're napalming, and it's just like out of fucking Apocalypse Now. You've got the people escaping on their boat to get to Abigail, the big super yacht there, but then you have these planes flying in and dropping napalm on, I think it's Santa Monica and Los Angeles.
It was Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, right? So, so this guy, his intuition, his character of being, and that would be my presumption that he's Mexican, that he, was involved in the drug cartels and was involved in just the most brutal sort of situations, that he used that experience to do what he had to do. He did the dirty deed. He didn't enjoy doing it. What he said to the soldier was that the thing about doing this that a lot of people don't think about is that the guy that does it has to relive it every day of his life for the rest of his life. So he has to carry his act that he's doing to, like, the torture that he's doing to the soldier. He has to carry that with him for the rest of his life. He is not, he's not a sociopath. He's not, or not a psychopath or a sociopath. He's actually, he feels the pain. He doesn't want to do
I wouldn't say, well, it's tough because obviously it seems like he he may be like a sociopath because he knows he has to be.
Mhm.
Not
But that's
because he
different, though.
actually.
That's not
Yeah.
like he has a conscience. So his conscience is telling him that this is something he doesn't want to do, and he regrets having to do it. He knows he's doing it out of necessity. It's a terrible act. So it's one of the big themes that I wanted to talk about. I'm glad we've
But that's sort of that's sort of what sociopathy is. That's what separates it from psychopathy, is that you know it's wrong and you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway and you live with it.
No. Sociopath is more that you're not you don't, social norms don't apply to you. That
Yeah, you don't have any empathy.
Yeah, you don't care. It's not that you're psychopath, and psychopath means that you could derive pleasure from seeing people suffer and shit like that. But a sociopath would be more like a Tony Soprano type character. It's a perfect sociopath.
Yeah.
Somebody that, I'll kill this guy, even though it's totally wrong, and it's it might be, my soul may be damned to hell or whatever, but I'm a gangster, so fuck it.
Yeah,
I'll
it's just
do it.
business.
Yeah, with the character of Daniel Salazar, he is not either of those things. He's actually like, he's somebody that feels like he's telling his victim, I'm not going to enjoy this. I'm not doing this because I'm going to enjoy it. I'm actually going to hate it. And I'm going to have to carry this with me for the rest of my life. And he's done it before, so he knows what he's talking about. But he does it because
I'd have to agree there, because he's I don't think he is a sociopath, but he's a warrior.
Yeah.
He's a man of necessity. He's a man of his society. He's a product of what he is. So it's like being a gangster. Like, I actually have sympathy. Like, you watch a show like The Wire. I mean, like, these kids are born into it. They have no chance. There's no chance. I mean, you have no chance, right? You're born into like a shitty situation. Your mother's a crackhead or whatever, right? I mean, like, you're fucked from day one, sort of thing. And the struggle is to try to overcome it, sort of thing. So someone like the Daniel Salazar character, you could have. We don't know what his history is, but we got to assume, because he's Hispanic and he's living in Los Angeles, he's probably Mexican. And then you think, well, what's the most brutal thing that he could be involved in? Will it be the Mexican drug cartels? Because
it makes sense. Yeah,
it's war. I mean, it's fucking war, right?
I mean, it's not like he fought at the Alamo. I mean, this is 2016. It's like
it's even more brutal because the methods that the Mexican drug cartels, when they behead 50 people, I mean, you gotta live with that.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're one of these guys that's committing these acts and you still go home and you got a family, like, there's a movie that came out recently. I think it's not. I don't know if it won, but I think it was nominated. It was by Canadian Montrealer here, Daniel Villeneuve, and it was called. It's the one with Benicio del Toro and what's the name of the girl? Somebody in the chat will get it. Sicario. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've just seen that actually a few months ago.
It's good, right?
Yeah, it was pretty good. It was a little bit dry of a watch, but it was really, really hard hitting.
You got it. The character of Benicio del Toro.
Oh, really?
Is almost the same character that we have here in Daniel Salazar.
I think so.
And his character, I mean, Benicio del Toro, and he fucking owns the movie. I mean, he is a fucking tour de force.
Right to the end, too, eh?
Yeah, right to the end. I mean, and he, you find out his story. So what's his story? He was actually a lawyer, and he was involved in prosecuting drug cartel members that, that were fucking murdering people, like, by the hundreds or whatever. And they came and they fucking kidnapped his family, and they fucking dumped his daughter in a fucking pot of acid or something like that, right? And they raped his wife and whatever. I mean, they fucking did the most. He had to watch it, sort of thing. So, he's never gonna be a normal person ever again. And you don't know why. When you're watching the first half of the movie, you can't figure out why this guy is so, he's so cold. He just pull out a machine gun and fucking kill people, or like brutally torture people. Like, he actually rapes a drug cartel leader's brother. There's a scene, and it's implied. It's actually that movie's hardcore. It's like Traffic. If you've seen the movie Traffic, but
Yep.
like uncut sort of thing. Like it's more to the point. It's more brutal in many ways, and I really have to give it one of my favorite actors, Benicio del Toro. He is so good in this film. It's just, and so is Josh Brolin. He's like a CIA guy. Everybody's great in the film. But the thing is, like, I think of that character, Daniel Salazar, as being a character like Benicio del Toro. He is a man that somehow was put in, like he had no choice. He had to suffer warfare. So he's a good man. There's no question about that. He has a family. He loves. He cares. But he has to do things that
he embodies the warrior archetype. I think that's the best way to describe it. Because
and he lives based on respect as well. A lot of the things that he says, like he doesn't like to impede on somebody else, like without permission. Like he's very, very respectful.
Yeah, and it's amazing because I think he can be compared to so many good characters in not only movies but other TV shows. Another character that comes to mind is Saeed from Lost. It's very, very, very similar. These characters
that's right.
Embody the warrior archetype, not in a evil way though. Even though he's torturing somebody and he's willing to kill at the drop of a dime, he doesn't do it with bad intent. He does it to survive and or protect good. The good in this world, like his family and the people he's looking out for. So it's a very interesting archetype, the warrior archetype, because it's something that can be used for evil, but it can be used for good too, and a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, we're a product. I believe that we're a product of our upbringing, our situation. That's what we are. Some of us react better or worse to whatever hand we're dealt. Right? If you think of it like a poker deal or something like that, these are the cards you get. How are you going to deal with them?
Yeah, work with it.
So this guy obviously, is somebody that has had to do things. He had to do them. Now, he's not a saint, no fucking way. But he's not evil either. He had to do them, and he regrets having to do them. And I think the actor, Ruben Blades, he's amazing. Him and Cliff Curtis there are probably. I think Kim Dickin's a great actor. They actually have a really good cast here. People, I know people are impatient and they want to see what they see on The Walking Dead sort of thing. But I think this show is actually deeper. And when I think about tonight's episode, now Rob, you've seen the whole thing now.
I have. I'm all caught up.
All right, awesome. The scene at the fence there, I thought was really deep as well. I thought almost every scene in this. So you remember at the fence, it was Travis, right? And he was with the guy George, and he was saying, like, I just saw my son, and he was like fucking, he was driving an ice pick through, or an axe or a spike or whatever through, the heads of zombies, and like, what the WTF? I don't know how to react to that, because it looks like my son was actually enjoying it. Although I don't know if he was enjoying it so much, but he was doing it. He was like, his son has actually recognized the situation that they're in, and the Travis character still hasn't fully embraced it. He doesn't understand fully.
Oh, he's a pussy, total pussy. That guy. I mean, like, obviously, he's a good man and all that, but he has yet to really come around to the reality. There's no way you can maintain that sort of ideology that he has, that sort of, peace-loving, thou shalt not kill in a situation like that they're in with The Walking Dead. I mean, you saw it with in the original show, The Walking Dead. You're seeing it now with that character, the black guy. What's his name?
Strand.
Morgan.
Morgan, right?
Oh, Morgan. Okay, sorry, I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, you would have to. I mean, you would have to go as far as to learn an entire martial arts class called the Kimbo. What's it called? The Kimbo. That he uses in Walking Dead to not kill people, but to stop them from attacking you and stuff.
Yeah. Aikido, I think it is.
Aikido, yeah.
That what Steven Seagal, that's his martial arts, I believe.
Yeah, and yeah, so I mean, I think that, but I really yearn to find out that Travis's how Travis's character ends up dealing with the world that he's in now. Like, is he going to go the way of Rick, or is he going to go the way of Morgan? Right? Because
that's what I'm saying. Because what George is saying to him, he's saying this is reality. He's saying to him it's nothing. His son is going out every day and fucking driving a spike through the heads of zombies and presumably people that have been infected. So he's managed to keep his family somehow together. And the way that they've been able to keep their family together is by killing off everybody that got infected. So that scene where he's patching the fence is deeply symbolic, because you have two guys that you could say both of them are not seeing what's to come. You've got Travis, who is still trying to hold on to being the good parent, kind of fatherly figure sort of thing, and ethical guy, and then you've got George, who's still patching up his fence, thinking somehow that they're going to be able to keep the hordes of zombies that inevitably will find their way. They're just more every day sort of thing. And then, of course, what happens is that the daughter finds, or I guess somehow she finds the pills. That would be something I have to go back and see if.
I want to know who, how that came about. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now.
We saw the guy hide the pills in the top, way back corner on that cabinet. Like, how did those wind up in the girl's hands?
Yeah, I have the episode downloaded. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna open it up and whoa, hang on a second here. Hang on.
We're on this boat with no.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share the screen, and this is normally what we do anyways. But it's been a deep conversation, though. I really have to say it's so awesome to be discussing this with you guys. You guys are so much on the ball with all this shit, and I think we have a really deep symbolic sort of theme here. I think there's a lot more going on, and I think a lot of people aren't going to catch on. And I think that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a lot of the reviews. No, it's a soap opera, or it's this and that. But there is so much that is going on. So if we go to the scene there where he finds the pills, right? Here, and I can't play anything because of course I'll get a copyright strike, but if I just show the images here, I think we can find that scene hopefully. Okay, so there's the scene where they're discussing the action figures with the red spots on their head, right, that they've all been.
That was eerie.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And that's what we see, because we know what we learned through the Madison character, the matriarch, if you will, of the show, the Kim Dickens character, and she's a really great actress.
Rick rhymes with boobs.
Man, if you seen Deadwood, you wouldn't say that. Actually, yeah, I guess that's a good analogy in a sense, if you take out the sexual connotation. But she was pretty fucking smoking hot in Deadwood. And Tremmy, if you've seen that show, another great show. But that scene here, so they have the scene with the action figures, right? That's where Nick learns about the pills. So then he goes to search for the pills. I'm going to try to find that right now so that we can see where he leaves those pills after he finds them, because the little girl takes them, so somehow she was able to find them. Is that Nick's fault? Is that what you're thinking too, Rob?
Yeah, well, when he put them on a high up cabinet there.
Yeah, okay.
In the corner, right here, yeah. And then when he puts it away, it's up out of her reach technically, and even out of sight just about. Like, it just boggles the mind how it got to her hands.
How much do you want to bet Flat Earth videos would be made on this? Guarantee you. Listen,
Dude, you're a shill for. This is all planned, bro.
Russian bits. You see,
I don't even want to say those
they
two
put
words.
the death pills inside the globe because they know the
Wait a
globe
minute.
is a lie.
It's a hollow Earth.
Yeah, it's a baller. So he actually put it back where he got it, but the little girl knew somehow. Is it because she came in and saw him? I mean, he can't be blamed for that, right? Because he was, like, I believe, and I didn't believe this when I was watching. When I was watching it live, I thought he was trying to get a high, but then when he got back on the boat and he spoke to, what's his name, Travis and Madison, and the rest, and he was saying, I found the pills, and that's when he said, it's because I'm a junkie, I can recognize everything.
Yeah, I know my pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, at that point I was like, oh shit, he was actually, that's what he was looking for. He wasn't looking to get high, and he doesn't get high. He's not all fucked up at any point. He was actually looking, or at least that's what I believe, he was looking for those death pills to see if they actually existed. So maybe he would have done something to, like, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy, and it's like one of these things where, you know, it's kind of like, you know, what could you have done? Well, I thought maybe he would take them, you know, so that they couldn't use them. And I thought when I watched it, maybe I didn't watch it close enough, but I thought he did take them, right? But he didn't. He left them in there, and that's probably what he should have done, was to take the. Hey, we've got a Robert J. Morris clone. Welcome, Robert J. Morris clone.
My internet keeps dropping out, guys. I'm sorry for that.
I love it. It would be cool if there was two of you all of a sudden.
That'd be horrible.
Nobody noticed, you know. He'd just be yapping away.
At myself.
There's two Robert J. Morris. What the fuck? WTF is going on? So yeah, I really like this episode. I mean, I like it and I loathe it at the same time because I find it really disturbing. I see so many of the themes in this episode that I, you know, have lived in terms of doing truthing and being a, you know, part of the whole truth movement, and seeing all these things like Ebola, these viruses, and, you know, depopulation and shit like that. It worries me when I see this, you know, and we see the police state, you know, all these things that we worry about and we talk about, we try to alarm people about. You see that in this show, almost in a much more condensed form than the main show. The main show, which also has these themes in it, and we've gone through it. I mean, Rob, we've done and Press, we've done a few podcasts already on Walking Dead, some really good ones. On the main show, on Alexandria, on all these different elements about The Walking Dead. Rob,
hey Jeff, I was thinking, man, we should move on to the Mobisodes. The Mobisode?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I watched that today, Flight 462.
Yeah, because it's the Fear of the Walking Dead Mobisode. Why I say we should really focus on this is because, well, you know the Asian girl on the plane? She is going to be in the main show. I saw on future previews, like they show briefly at the end for the next episode, they show her. Yeah. That plane ends up crashing, and they end up meeting up with the group. I'm pretty sure.
I have a feeling she works for the CDC or something. She's got some kind of a fishy background.
Yeah. That Fear of the. I'm glad you guys caught those, because obviously there's something else going on here. So let's see, where did I have it here? We had the whole thing here, 14, 16. This on the plane here. This is what you're talking about, right? I'm going to share the screen here, and we'll get to that here. So if you haven't seen it, folks, it's about 12 and a half minutes, almost 13 minutes long. There's a bunch of webisodes that they've put.
There's a longer one, isn't there, that you sent me? It's like 14 minutes. It actually has more.
No, it's the 16. I have got it here. This is the one I sent you because I sent.
I mean, no, hold on. It has 14 minutes. Wait a minute.
No, I sent you one that had 14 episodes, and then I sent you. This is the one that has them all. So you don't see what happens to the plane. You just see Nick walking outside here in the end.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right.
And
As long as
he's
you see
looking
that.
up, and he sees the plane, and he sees it like, all of a sudden shift really quickly, and it looks like it might crash. So obviously, they're setting up this character here, this Asian chick.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty cute. Yeah, you got to listen to the hot Asian chick.
I could be mistaken, but that little shimmy that the plane did, I think that's done to slow the plane's descent down for crash landings. So that thing, I do believe that it crashed relatively safely.
Yeah, well, I mean, a crash landing where like I did the other night there on GTA podcast. Oh my god!
I gotta join you on one of. I gotta get my when I get back to Canada.
You have PlayStation 4 though?
I got a 3, but I don't know. I think my buddy might have a 4.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'll just rent the damn thing.
You still have your PlayStation Press?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Because maybe we can. Do you have GTA?
No, but I can get it.
All right. Grab it when it goes on sale. It usually does, and it's pretty cheap these days, relatively. And because we can do an online sort of gaming thing with that. And it's so much fun. Oh my god!
Can we do a multiplayer on that? Like,
yeah, there's multiplayer. Yeah.
No shit. Oh, I'm gonna have to get it.
Yeah. So, can you guys yap for a second while I drain old One Eye, as Rob says?
Yeah. Actually, the GTA 5 online there. It's quite fun. Just run around causing mayhem. It's a good.
Well, you have it?
I've got it on PS3 actually, but I'm nowhere near it because that's all that stuff is back in Canada.
Oh yeah, you're still in Mexico, aren't you?
Yep.
How's the weather down there?
Pretty warm. It's nice. It's gonna go into this rainy season. I'm in Puebla right now.
Have you seen this Mobisode yet?
I have. Yeah, I watched it earlier today. Jeff sent me the link. And then I had to hunt around because where I am, the region, it wouldn't allow me to watch it. So, but I ended up watching the whole thing. So
you watched the whole? I haven't seen the whole thing yet. I've only seen it in between because they showed it during the commercials of The Walking Dead. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, that's how they showed it, like on TV during The Walking Dead, like the actual real Walking Dead, the original series. This past season, they showed these Mobisodes in between the episodes during commercial breaks.
Oh, no way.
They would show, that's why it says parts 1 through 16, because they were shown in parts during the commercial breaks.
I was wondering why they were so broken up. Like you had this 46 second segment, and it's just like someone looking through the plane for something.
Yeah,
and then,
that's why, because it was really quite a clever idea that they had. They were showing it in between, during the commercial breaks, in the middle of the commercial breaks during the premieres of the Walking Dead season 6 during each episode. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched zero TV, so
you get to learn what a useless sack of shit the air marshal is.
Oh, jeez. How many bullets you put into a guy's chest before you realize, hey, I should shoot him in the head, you dummy?
And you think about this. When you think about the zombie culture, all right, we've got, I don't know, 1 out of 4 video games is like a zombie game. Almost half the fucking horror movies out there are zombie movies. I showed this. I think it was back when I did a Halloween podcast, and I was like, "Look at how it used to be." There was an era where we had aliens that were the main theme. I think it was in the 50s and stuff like that. And you had vampires, and you had this. For the last 10.
Then it was Russians.
yeah. For the last 10, 15 years, it's been zombies. Everything's been zombies. All the most popular shows, it's been out of this world zombies. So we're all inundated with zombies, and we all know, the movie. They're making a sequel. I think it's called Zombieland. Have you seen that one?
Oh, I've seen Zombieland. Oh, I was just thinking about that movie. It's brilliant. Love it.
With Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, that's the best part of the movie.
I've actually
It's so hilarious. He comes out and he's like, oh.
He gets shot. Oh, that sucks.
Like, why are you acting like a zombie? But like everybody knows. So if you see somebody and they're like, you know, you're like, okay, that's a zombie.
Yeah, it's like because it makes you wonder, like in this show, like what did that whole zombie culture just never happen? You know, like,
you never seen a zombie movie?
Yeah, exactly.
What's the matter with you? I mean,
It's like
seriously.
an alternate reality where zombie movies never existed, I guess, because they couldn't figure it out for a while. Like what to do?
There's a great show that they brought back. It was from the Evil Dead franchise there, and they brought it back as a show, like as a TV show. Have you guys seen that, The Evil Dead?
No, I haven't. They got a show. No.
Absolutely brilliant. You should go back, check it out. I think they're in a couple seasons now, but they're just half-hour episodes, and it is the best. I think it's the best show on TV. It's so silly, it's funny.
I love The Evil Dead.
It's that amped up to 11.
It's comedy, but it's great. I mean, I love that. Bruce Campbell. He's awesome.
Oh yeah. Oh, Bruce Campbell, and his hand makes an appearance. Yes.
Yes. So I mean, we've got this episode here, and everybody has the mindset that's watching of the Asian girl. It's like, okay, this guy that's really sick is gonna turn into a fucking zombie. It's fucking obvious, right? There is a zombie. Is there not a zombie outbreak happening right now? Shouldn't we be concerned about the guy that's coughing up blood?
That would be one of the most I think it's so brilliant that they showed what it would be like on a plane when a zombie apocalypse happens. I mean, that would be like the last place you'd want to be, like in a plane. Oh man,
it recycled air conditioning, shit like that. No, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's so
zombies on a plane.
Yeah, I mean, zombies on a plane. Like, can you think of a crazier situation? Like, I don't think I could. I mean, that's like, I mean, being on a plane can be stressful enough if you don't fly all the time.
I'm tired of these motherfucking zombies on this motherfucking plane.
What bothers the fuck out of me is the way that the wife of the zombie here looks so much like Nicole Hockley, the Sandy Hook, one of the Sandy Hook Crisis actor mothers.
Maybe it is her.
It's uncanny how much they look alike. They have the same expression. Let me see if I can find her here. Where I had her before. This lady. It's like I keep thinking it's Nicole Hockley. She's got that glum look on her face all the time. It's like nobody's figuring it out. The stewardess is clueless. Are you okay in there, sir? The wife is clueless. The fucking air marshal is double clueless. I mean, like, nobody can figure it out. It's only the Asian girl and the teenage guy, right? And it's weird. What I found weird, too, was, like, these two and their relationship, because at one point, she's, like, holding him like he's her child. And I'm like, damn, I wouldn't mind being in that guy's shoes.
Yeah.
She's got his head towards her breast, sort of thing. It's like,
yes.
Yeah, okay, you told me.
Boy, dream come true, you know.
Where is it? Let's see if I can find it. It's just hilarious. I was like watching this. I'm like, did she actually do that? Yes, she did. The motherly instinct is strong, and this guy's probably got right there. He's probably got like a little teepee going at the same time. Yeah, it's pretty funny. And it's just something. Obviously, she's going to be a character in this show, and that's why they're putting it in. And it's clever. It's why not? I mean, you've got this show, and you want to keep people watching it. Game of Thrones. I actually subscribe through Supreme Lord Commander to Game of Thrones channel here on YouTube, and it's actually a really good channel because they put up all the production and this, like the set designs and.
I can't wait for Game of Thrones, man.
We're gonna do that, man. We're gonna do that for sure.
Oh, we're gonna do that real good.
I'm in. I'm down.
That's gonna be so much fun. Game of Thrones is awesome.
And I didn't read the book, so like.
That's okay though. I mean,
no, but that'll be a good because you have.
Yeah.
Good to have.
I've actually read 3.5. I stopped halfway.
I haven't read them either, so.
The fourth book, which is it's plotting because it changes like and that's like the first 3 books. Holy fucking shit! I've never read anything.
I think the last book I read was on the internet.
Oh, you should read them. You would love them. Anybody that, even if you are like a casual reader, you'll love them because they are just, I mean, they're just go, go, go. They're just, and they're huge. They're like 1,000, 1,200 pages each. And
Pictures?
Yeah, you got pictures of Cersei throughout.
Cersei's hot, even though she's so evil.
Yeah, I love Game of Thrones. I mean, and it's very interesting. I think there's a lot of really amazing themes, crazy themes in that show, and I think it would make excellent
we could talk about like that show for years. Not. I mean, like there's
how long
so
has this
much.
podcast been going on? I don't know, man. I think we're in the 3rd year, man. I need a bathroom break.
Oh man, it'll be like Robert J. Morris's week-long episode there with
Operation Scroogle.
Where'd he go? I don't know where he went, but
He'll come back. We'll have a couple quotes.
Operation Scroogle. The week-long episode. Remember that, Robert J.?
Sorry, I just knocked out there on the internet. Just got back. What did I miss?
No, I was just mentioning that time where you held a podcast for a week straight.
Oh yeah, Operation Scroogle. I remember that.
I love that. It's actually Game of Incest.
What?
It is, man. It's crazy. Yeah. Fuck. That's that show. I mean, the books themselves. You definitely you owe it to yourself. I mean, if you are somebody that even remotely likes fantasy type fiction, Tolkien. I found it a lot better than Tolkien. I love Tolkien, like I love Lord of the Rings and all that. I read that like 4 or 5 times, but I actually really enjoyed, and it's not Game of Thrones, Song of Fire and Ice, right? That's the name of the series. The first book is called Game of Thrones. But Game of Thrones is the perfect name for it because that's what it is. It's, I mean, they're just these families that are fighting for control. Right.
I think it's very representative of the real world too, in a way.
I think so too. I agree.
Absolutely. There's a lot of themes that are very interesting in the show, and that show, I know a lot of book readers are pissed off at some of the turns, and it's weird because in the last season there you had things that happened in the show that hadn't even transpired yet in the books, like Stannis killing his daughter, which is probably the fucking darkest scene in like television history.
That was the most horrible scene.
It's like, you got it. No, I was like,
it was
the Red Wedding.
It was like that was the most bleak moment of television history ever. Like, it was just so. Oh my god, like horrible.
Yeah,
that's what that show does so well.
There's a really, really funny video on YouTube. It's like 6 minutes long, and it's just all the reactions from the people watching the TV show, and like their spouses had like read the books and knew it was
the
coming.
Red Wedding.
Yeah, all the reactions. It's a great reaction video.
When I read, when did I read Game of Thrones? I read Game of Thrones like maybe 5 years ago, or not Game of Thrones, the whole series before the whole series came out, and the Red Wedding scene was the one that like fucking floored me. Like reading the books and you build up these characters and you're so into the characters and all of a sudden they're getting slaughtered at a wedding.
They like become the main.
Unthinkable. It was like, what?
Yeah, truly nobody's safe.
It's amazing how they can do that on that show. They'll slay the main characters, and it still works. Like you couldn't get away with that in like Walking Dead slaying Rick, but that's something they would do in Game of Thrones. Like
I agree. I mean, it's kind of sad too. Like I've got to be critical of Walking Dead, the television show. I know it's following the comics, so there is a loose outline to the story, and they're going to follow it more or less. But I just find like it's obvious it's a money-making machine now. So you've got, 16 episodes per season, and you've got 6 seasons, and they're going to make like 3 or 4 at least more. I mean, it's like, Rick's not going to die for a long time. Even though he's all sweaty and he's all fucked up at the end of the last episode, somehow he's going to come around.
I actually, I meant to mention this 2 weeks ago when we did our show, but Rick, you know what I was thinking? I was thinking the way they might end the show is him turning into a zombie, because they did that. I don't know if you've ever played the Walking Dead video game on PlayStation.
No, I'm gonna get it though eventually.
Yeah, it's it's like
Telltale games.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, something like that. Yeah, and it's one of those like multiple choice type of choose your own adventure kind of thing.
I've got the people that made that, the studio or whatever video game manufacturer. I have that. It's called Telltale, and I have that for Game of Thrones. So I'll probably do that live if I can.
Yeah.
And podcasts. But yeah, I think it's interesting. So,
but spoiler alert for the people out there. If just shut this off for a quick second if you don't want to know what happens in the game. But yeah, the main character that you play, you end up getting turned, and you end up saving this little girl by the end of it, and she takes off for the second. Like they've got basically like a second video game, like part 2, and that's when you're playing the little girl. So I was thinking that because it is Rick Grimes' story, that would be the way to end it. Like he's about to turn or something, and then maybe I don't know what.
I think it takes balls for a show to kill off their main characters or one of their main characters, and I think you don't. I think you see it more now, and I think it's an edgier thing to do. So like in Game of Thrones, that's like that's happening. I mean, like you every season, at least a few people that you've grown to like respect or really like the character get fucking killed. Maybe
it's almost like a reoccurring theme that anybody who represents like nobility or altruism ends up just getting killed in that show. You know what I mean? Like
I always tell you guys, like if you make plans, you're dead.
Unless you're like Tyrion and you're just a step ahead.
Yeah, I don't think they'll kill off Tyrion. I really don't, because he's so like you said, like a step ahead of everybody else. He's just so much more intelligent than everybody. I don't see him getting killed, but maybe.
Well, you look at the characters. So who are the survivors? So you've got Varys, you've got Tyrion, you've got Littlefinger. I mean, like those 3 spring to mind instantly, because they're like chess players. They're always like Littlefinger. He's always like several moves ahead. That's why that's.
Well, also little Stark there. What's her name?
Sansa?
Yeah.
Sansa,
well, Sansa's still alive too, but I mean.
Oh no, yeah. What's her name? Yeah.
The little one that's off to be a Two-Face girl or.
Yeah, exactly. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know why.
We're not prepared for that show, but yeah, I mean, it's a great show. I mean, it's a dream come true. If you are like a fan of this type of entertainment, I mean, I don't know how you can't be almost, but like when you think about it, in this day and age, right now, they're able to bring these things to life. Is amazing, because we're finally at that point in time. And the good thing about Game of Thrones too, what makes it so strong, is that it's so character driven. It's really a big drama, right? It's really a big drama with fucking swords and fucking dragons and shit, right, thrown in. But it's
I like how in that show too that there's like just the right amount of how do I say it, like supernatural themes. It's not too over the top.
Yeah,
like,
they don't
you know
shove
what I
it
mean?
down your throat. Yeah.
He wasn't
Right.
put dragons in. In fact, George R. What's his name? Martin. He only put dragons in because his wife loved that, and she made him put dragons in, essentially. So he was more into the Tudors and into medieval type dynasties and shit like that. So he wanted to make a whole sort of mythical setting based on medieval sort of Europe.
And it was really well done, I think, how they did that, because they blended that magical stuff like as legend in the show, and now we got all of it. We've got giants, we've got undead, we've got you name it.
Yeah, but it's not. It's the good thing about now it's built up to that point now.
Exactly.
But I mean, like when you first start watching it, there isn't any of that in the first season. It's not. Well, they hint at it and stuff like, oh, the dead will come.
Yeah, but it's not the dead or the drag. I mean, the dragons are good. I think this, like, for me, it's the scenes like the Red Wedding that are so powerful, right? I mean, and there's no magic. It's just treachery.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
there isn't. They don't It's not overkill with that. That's why there's so much more to it than the supernatural, and that's why it's good. It's not like based on that. There's just there's like hints of that within the plot, which makes it even more appealing, because it's like it's just more appealing in that way, because it's more like real life in the plot when you have so many key points that
it's
have
what they call a Deus Ex Machina, where they have magic can create things and can fill in for and
yeah, Deus Ex Machina,
yeah, exactly, like where a story all of a sudden twists because of magic instead.
Exactly.
With Game of Thrones, it's more about characters and the characters and how they interact.
Exactly.
The way that they outsmart each other, outwit each other, sort of thing, and the character of the characters themselves that make them so interesting. So I think they've done a terrific job with this show. Even though I'm obviously partial to the books, without the books there isn't a show. But I think they've really achieved something special, and what they nailed, amongst many things in Game of Thrones, is the casting. The casting is top notch. When you have great actors, like I think of guys like the Onion Knight, or the guy that played Stannis, or the woman that played what's her name, Stark. There, just great character actors that flesh out the story so well, and and then you have guys like Sean Bean, like A-list actors coming in portraying roles. They've done a great job. And this show here, I mean, we're going to switch back now to Fear of the Walking Dead, because obviously this the podcast is, and maybe what we'll do, I mean, we'll talk about this, but we're definitely going to cover Game of Thrones as soon as it starts up. We'll do a Game of Thrones podcast.
I think it might be next week, actually.
It's in May.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
And don't forget, we do have a zombie element in Game of Thrones too. So
yeah, absolutely. The walking, the undead,
the White Walkers, yeah.
White Walkers.
It's funny that they call them walkers too, just like Walking Dead.
I know.
Yeah, you wonder. Yeah. I want to talk about too the gay element that they've thrown into the television show. I plan to do a video on it, but it's such a topic that I don't stomach. I don't want to have to go through with it, but I think they really have put a lot of LGBT into the whole Game of Thrones. They made characters a lot more gay than they were in the books, and they made sex a bigger part of the story. Which is not necessarily bad, but because there's so much gay, it's fucked up. So, but yeah, it's a great show. But let's get back to Fear of the Walking Dead here, since that's what we're here for. Now, Rob, you've seen the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Press saw it before us, and so we've all seen it. When we're looking at this episode here, that happened. I think it's the best episode by far of what I've seen so far on Fear of the Walking Dead. I think they've actually done something here that is monumental in this episode. They've really set the bar here. I've seen an episode here that, to me, resonated a lot stronger than so much of what I've seen with the actual main.
It was stronger than the premiere for sure. I was very let down. I really enjoyed the first 6 episodes. You can't really call it a season. It was only 6 episodes, but like I said, as soon as they took to the water, it just seemed to go flat for me.
Mm.
And then now they landed, had that little situation with the family. I'd like to see where they're going to go next with this because, quite frankly, it's kind of dead in the water.
I find it interesting that the character, the Strand character, I don't think we've talked too much about him thus far. But
that's the captain?
He's the black guy.
Yeah.
The ship, right?
They're milking his whole, his secret
I don't know.
identity thing. I don't know. They're milking it.
I think he is one of the pivotal characters that we have here, and obviously he...
I want to know what he knows!
Well, this is the thing. I have a theory. It's probably wrong, but, he's talking to somebody. He's got some kind of a contact, right? Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if it has anything to do with that girl, Charlie, the Asian.
Yeah, could be.
And I wonder if she has some kind of governmental or CDC connection or something along those lines.
Yeah, that would make sense. In fact, how would she? I mean, when as viewers, when we're watching the webisodes, we're like, well, that person's turning into a zombie, obviously. Fuck. So you're naturally inclined to agree with everything she does because she's very apprehensive and she is trying to get them to react properly to the situation, and of course nobody is. So for our perspective as a viewer, we're like all on board with the character because she seems to be the only passenger on the plane that actually fucking has a clue about what's going on. But that makes it interesting because what is it that gives her that insight? Now, as I said before, and as we discussed before, I mean, we've all been inundated with this zombie culture. So if you, me, and Press were on a plane together and we saw some guy across the aisle who was coughing up blood and was like, we'd probably be like, well, that guy looks like he's going to turn into a zombie.
Yeah, Press would run over and stab him in the face.
There is a scene in the webisode where she actually stabs the women in the face there, like in a premeditative sort of act.
Yeah.
Right? And the air marshal reacts to it. He's like, oh my God, you just murdered her. It's like, well, didn't you just see what her husband did?
Yeah.
He just fucking ate a couple people. I mean, do you get a clue then? But what is her character and what does she know? And obviously, she maybe is involved with the CDC. Maybe she knows exactly.
That guy shouldn't have ate the fish.
That's, of course, from Airplane. Yeah. Airplane. Tom, have you seen that?
I saw it like a while ago, but I...
Oh, man. It's the fish, because everybody that ate the fish gets fucking sick.
Dude, that is the plane!
Oh, it's so funny. Oh, what a classic movie. I think, it's going to be interesting to see this character woven into the whole story here. Obviously, and I didn't know that at the time. I'm glad, Rob, that you told me this, is that they're actually bringing her in as a character. It seemed like a waste if they were just going to have a plane crash.
I did read that. Oh, yeah, I told you on Skype, but Press actually mentioned it here on the podcast.
Okay, yeah, because in the if you watched the episode on TV live, at the end, obviously, they show like previews for the next episode. She's in, like, briefly you can see her. She's in the preview, and I'm presuming that the plane crashes, and then our crew, our characters, somehow meet up with the people who crashed in the plane at some point. It looks like in a desert type of area. Well, of course, California is sort of like a desert anyway, but I mean, like, it looks like a sandy type of area where they meet up, and then, yeah, I don't know, but it's a brief preview they show, and that Asian girl's in it. So yeah, I believe she is in the show, and I'm not sure about the kid though.
She'll probably adopt the kid and then drag him along everywhere because Mummy's dead.
Oh, come on, kid! He's like 16 years old.
Yeah, he's not a kid, but I mean, like, he's a...
I mean, that's what I was laughing at when I saw it. I was like,
if anything,
he's gonna grab him and fucking put his head on her breast. Like at one point, it seemed like she was like nurturing him or something.
Well, she like how old? Like she looks like she's in her what, mid-20s maybe?
Yeah. I mean,
so I mean, that would be.
I'd be all for it, man. If I was that kid, I'd be like, woohoo!
Yeah, but wouldn't that be interesting if they actually had like a teenage boy and like a 25-year-old girl like that, like get together? It would be like interesting, you know, because you don't see that in TV, you know, like
she says to the kid, she goes, "I took your mom's seat." And the kid's like, "Mom, who?"
Thank you. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
Behind the scenes, he's like, thank God. I'd much rather have this woman coddle me than my mother.
yeah, Mom, you had a good run.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, it's something they're going to add to the whole show. I actually have, I'm actually, after this episode, I mean, the first one was kind of meh, you know, like it was... it was a little bit slow, not a lot. I mean, like they were, you know, obviously setting the story up for what was to come. And this,
I've scraped up more interesting shit off my shoe. No, I just didn't like.
I'm sure you have. Walking around in Mexico, right?
Yeah, for
I might want to
Robert J. Morris, I'm sure that does happen quite often.
Tequila, I just stepped on a worm. Yeah, but I think now, like, this episode to me just was really good. I think they did a great job. It worries me about what they're saying about it because it's like this is what I fear. I fear that they're going to release some sort of, or they're going to create some sort of pandemic, and then everyone's going to get inoculated, and that's where we're all going to fucking get either killed or... I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying that's a possibility, and that's why I was very intense in covering the Ebola whole thing, the whole psyop that happened there.
Ebola, Jeff.
Ebola, yeah, exactly. So, you know, they're able to convince people, and there's been a massive push towards vaccinations, of course. Mm-hmm. And we've had this anti-vaxxer sort of movement, and Robert De Niro and all this shit going on. So there, you know, like we see a lot of these themes popping up in these shows, and you know, like I see Fear the Walking Dead, and I see a lot more of the sort of New World Order things that we're afraid of, the police state, society.
11 minutes in, did you guys catch the candles? There's 3 clusters of 4 lit candles.
No.
It's 11 minutes in. It's right smack dab in the center of the screen. It's interesting anyway.
So what do you make of that?
I don't know if it's just we have to get into the gematria and the what do you call it, the candle symbolism. They also did a thing with the, if you notice when they were in the prepper's house there, they also showed a rack of butterflies. Be interesting to re-examine that. I
also thought too, like in the season, it was called Monster, right? The first episode. Yep. And of course, what do they pull out? Like, what do they eat at the dinner? Because they have the dinner, right? Before they jump in, before Nick or what's the other kid there? Is it what's his name there? Chris? Yeah, Chris jumps in the water. It's an eel. So, you know, like I thought that was symbolic as well. That you have.
Let me ask you something. Sorry for. I just thought that. Who does that character Chris remind you of? A mutual friend here on YouTube.
Yes. I know.
You know
I
what I'm
won't
talking
say.
about, right?
I won't say, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I thought the symbolism with the eel, like and when um Chris is asking him like, what can you catch? And he's like, well, you can catch like whitefish or rainbow fish or whatever. He's telling all the different fish, and he ends up pulling out an eel. So when you think about an eel, you're thinking about a creature that swims on the bottom. It's a bottom feeder.
Mm.
You understand? So, like, it literally is a bottom feeder. Eels slither around on the bottom of the ocean floor, and they're basically scavengers. So they pull out he being the skillful fisherman pulls out the eel. Of course, it's edible, and then they present the eel, and they're all kind of there's a weird sort of scene where it's almost like they're happy for a second, like they're going to have the meal, right? And it's like a bunch of characters, and they show them they're having alcohol and stuff, and they're loosening up just before, of course, the reality sets in where you've got pirates that are on your tail sort of thing, and they just blew up this boat sort of thing. But I thought the eel was very interesting what they were showing there. So and I think that there's a lot more to this show, I'm sure, than most of the television so-called sort of writers, critics will pull out. I don't think they understand what exactly this show is getting at, because they're not coming from the right perspective, and I think we are. I think we can see a lot of these themes. Like when we talked about before about the anthropologist, and we had the anthropologist, and he was saying essentially, this guy George, that this is something that needs to happen. And okay, like that's fucked up, right? I mean, you have that mindset, but we know that there's a major, very well-known, prominent anthropologist that what's his name again? Press that. Okay, Press probably stepped away.
But the prepper guy.
Yeah, we mentioned him before. There was an anthropologist, and he had come forward.
Right.
He's very well known, and he came forth and he said that Ebola. Like he was saying that Ebola is a wonderful thing, and that we need something like Ebola to come in and wipe out 95% of humanity.
Yeah.
So when we had that element, like when I saw that in the show, I was like, oh, like that they had this anthropologist character, and that they built him up as being this morally, ethically, straight person, had a family. He was a prepper. He knew what was going on and all that, and he was actually in favor of the outbreak, which to me is really fucked up. Like that bothers me a lot. Like that fucking anthropologist is a fucking asshole. You fucking asshole. All life is sacred, in my opinion. Like, you cannot, like, what gives you the right to play God? What gives you the right to, like, decide who lives and who dies? How did you get to your situation? What privileges did you have? Like, what makes you so much better than everyone else that you can decide that all these other people need to go away so that you and your offspring can...
Well, I think the question remains, like, is it fully indoctrination, or is it, what's the word I'm looking for, absolute being part of it, like being part of the plan and deceiving others? So, I mean, like, like some of these people can just go and, roll off things off their tongue that they hear other people say, you know what I mean? Like for instance, you hear about overpopulation over and over and over again.
Yes.
And now it's like, oh, well, now we need a solution. So, of course, depopulation is next logical, decision. If you are indoctrinated in such a way to believe that that's the case.
Well, they even mention in this episode climate change.
Yeah, they did.
In fact, I think it's the Alicia character who's as dumb as she is hot. The character we're talking about, the eye candy there. And she says, well, we solved the global warming problem, or something along the lines, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there was a lot. Like that's what I see when I watch this. I see a lot of themes that I cover on a regular basis.
Did you notice that? Did you notice she drew a very bad one? But she drew
six basically.
Yeah, is that what it was? It looked like a Fibonacci spiral.
It was a Fibonacci spiral, but it was distinctively done in a 6 sort of pattern.
Yeah, I noticed
and that doesn't. That's the Fibonacci pattern is the most universal pattern in the universe, essentially.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's everywhere. It repeats itself. So, but it did look very, six-ish to me. I don't. Yeah, like I thought about that scene because where was she writing that on? Well, it was the nature walk. So you think about a nature walk, and I thought that was pretty powerful as well. That's why I was like, this episode is deep. Like there's like almost every scene had a lot of meaning. So when she wrote that, she was actually looking at it, and it was a nature walk. And it was like, you think about it, and it's like the things that we take for granted, that we can go out and go bird watching.
I got to go back and have me listen to what song she was listening to on her iPhone there. But
that was a pretty good song, man.
And what else?
The 5 years. The 5 years. Do you remember that from the first?
Is that what it was?
The song 5 years. 5 years. 5 years. It's David Bowie. So the song 5 years is from, I believe it's from Ziggy Stardust, and it's one of the songs about the apocalypse.
Interesting.
5 years left on Earth. So Ziggy Stardust is the man who fell to Earth, sort of thing, right?
Interesting. Because there's been a lot of repeating themes like this with the whole plague thing, like especially the title, obviously, which we already discussed. But I mean, even the X-Files, they came out with a new season, and it's strictly about that.
I gotta see that. In fact, I love doing this, and I'm hoping that we'll all together, the audience, the people that are listening, they're all part of the show, that we'll touch on all these shows and movies and stuff like that. Like, I'm really looking forward to doing Game of Thrones, of course, and then
I'd hate to ruin it for you, so I won't get into the X-Files, but
yeah, I want to get. I actually,
from what I've heard, the X-Files, the new X-Files, is like it's basically based on the New World Order.
Yeah, and they don't pull any punches. They don't pull a single punch. They just.
I gotta see it, Rob. So I'm gonna catch up to you, and then we'll do a podcast on it because obviously, there's so much to it. And it's wow. I've got to say, this episode is so much better. What I saw tonight on Fear the Walking Dead was so much better than most of what I saw in the last season of the actual Walking Dead.
Agreed.
There's just so much more to it. The themes, and that's what bothers me. The way that it ended was crazy. The elder son shooting the mother on, killing the elderly sort of thing. That's one of the themes of the New World Order, of course, is not only eugenicism, but euthanasia, right? Killing your parents. So
culling the herd, sort of.
Yeah, and it's a heavy scene. So I think they really did a great job with this episode. I really got to say, when I compare it to some of the episodes that I saw on the actual Walking Dead, there's no comparison. It's there's so much more going on here. Almost every scene is just dripping with symbolism, and I think what they've done with this show, and I'm not saying this show is way better than The Walking Dead. Obviously, The Walking Dead has a bigger budget. It's already been written out more or less and all that. But I think what they've done with this show is that there's just so much more predictive programming that they're actually showing what they want to show, as opposed to what somebody wrote in a comic sort of thing, right? So you have to, if you're basing your work, it's like Game of Thrones. Now, Game of Thrones, they've changed a lot, from the source, but it still more or less follows the source, however loosely. Same with Walking Dead. Now you've got the character Daryl Dixon, who is not in the comics. He's unique to the show itself. So they have done no prop press. They have done like different things, but they still are following the narrative of the comics. Whereas this show is something completely unique. So what they're putting into it is intentional. What they're showing us, in my belief, is stuff that we need to pay attention to. And when I saw this episode, I was like, holy, like, in one way, I'm like, it's a great episode. Like it's deep. It's all this. And another way, I'm like, fuck, because I'm looking at it, I'm like, they're telling us that they're gonna kill us off.
Well, it's almost like, one could look at the show, both of them, as kind of an operator's manual for the zombie apocalypse, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and why? Why would they do that? They're trying to get a result. I think personally, they're trying to achieve some kind of a herd mentality, that strips away morals and other things.
Mm-hmm. I think, I just see a lot of things in this particular episode that is a lot of what I've been covering, even with the LGBT. I believe, like, when I'm covering the LGBT, and like I did an episode today, which just it just sinks my soul when I see it. It's like gender neutral parenting, and it's like the craziest thing ever. Mm-hmm. It's what you're saying when you're saying gender neutral parenting is that you're going to bring up your kids as if they are not a boy or they're not a girl, that they are whatever they want to be. And it's like, that's not at all what we are. I mean, you're a man, I'm a man, I mean, it's fucked up. You cannot raise kids that way. And the fact that they're putting so much emphasis in this type of mental sort of manipulation and this social engineering, it's just, and it's so blatant, it's in your face, and it's like, it's so contradictory to what we really are as human beings. I mean, yes, there are one or out of 100 people that are different and weird and whatever, maybe psychopathic or sociopathic or hermaphrodite or whatever. And we want those people to be included in our society, of course. But what we're doing with our civilization right now is we're trying to normalize the absurd. We're actually promoting that people, take their kids and treat them like they are asexual, like they don't have a sex, and that let them figure out what they are.
Well, that's all part of like Planned Parenthood and all these other things that we already know about in the agenda. And it's like, I mean, it's staring at us right in the face what they're doing. It's not, they're not even trying to hide it now.
Absolutely.
Like, they're not even trying to hide it. It's like, bam, here you go.
So this episode of Fear the Walking Dead was all about the family. That's what I saw in this episode. It was like the character George, and then of course you have the characters that we've already identified with and that we've already learned about, which are the main characters on the show.
Right? I just had a thought. It just occurred to me that, like, how Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead there, he often refers to his band, like his little ragtag crew, as family.
Yes.
Now, so family no longer has to be blood. Like, that was a kind of theme. Now here we have this other side of the dichotomy here is, it is the family unit. They are
think
blood.
About it too. If we go to what happened in the last episode of The Walking Dead, we had the upcoming matriarch, right, which is Maggie, who is what? I mean, her situation, she's pregnant, but she's having like severe sort of pregnancy complications. So you have somebody that they're trying to have a normal sort of lifestyle.
This will get people buzzing. There's a rumor going around that somebody in the Rick Grimes camp there has actually poisoned Maggie and is a spy for Negan. There's a little,
yeah,
there's a little rumor out there right now for that.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to talk about with the Walking Dead, one of the things that I saw, and we talked about this when we did our last podcast, which I think was fantastic. People, if you haven't watched that, go back and watch that. And Rob, by the way, I think it's got like 5,000 views, so it's
right on.
A lot of people have watched it. And I think we're building up. I'm hoping that a lot of people will come in, especially just normal folk, part of the truther community sort of thing, come in and get a different perspective on what's going on. But yeah, we talked about so many things in that final episode there. I completely lost my train of thought where I was going with this, but
must be reading.
Yeah, one of the themes though, like the themes, that's what really resonates with me with this, and the themes dealing with the parenthood and having children and having a normal lifestyle in the New World Order, because they say it over and over again. I mean, people, it's not a conspiracy. When you talk about New World Order, it's not a conspiracy because it's written on your money. Novus Ordo Secloris means New World Order. It's on your dollar bill, for fuck's sakes. So like the powers that be are trying to bring this into reality. So you have to at some point come to grips with it and what that actually means. And I think like what I saw tonight, like it worries me a lot because like I think what the New World Order, the way it functions is that it destroys families. So when we talk about, like, for instance, MSNBC and their whole lean forward, and you had that very androgynous, well, she's female, but she's androgynous sort of looking, and that's how they make all these television presenters be. Coming out and saying that your kids aren't yours, they don't belong to you, they actually belong to the community, sort of thing, right? And that's one of those big sort of New World Order-ish videos that is out there that deals with the themes about the destruction of families, and that is exactly what has happened. Families are destroyed now. They don't and that's why I resonate so much with this episode, because I come from a destroyed family. I come from a New World Order sort of family, and I see, how I've been through hell sort of thing, through, just the destruction of the family unit. And I see like this character, George, the anthropologist, the ideologist, who's like, you know what? I see what's happening. I'm going to take my family and we're going to move away from civilization. We're going to do our own civilization. We're going to have our own sort of society. We're going to build for ourselves. We're going to build for a better future, and we're going to prepare for the collapse, and that's the theme that I see in this episode. That's why I was like, wow, this episode is deep, is because, like that theme is what so many truthers, especially Christian truthers, hold dearly to themselves, is like, we've got to have strong families. We have this whole LGBT sort of movement, which is all about selfie culture. It's all about breaking down families and programming people into being complete sociopath, essentially. Sociopath. What's the term that I'm looking for? I can't even think of it right now. Living for themselves, essentially, a living for your own sort of, life, your own, and that they're creating people, like so many people, like so many characters, so many of the shows. Like, people don't realize this. They don't realize the impact that pop culture has on you. You have no idea. Like, movies are the most powerful thing. I don't know who the director was, but there was a director, one of the best directors of the 20th century, who came out and said that. It might have even been Spielberg. And it was that movies are the most powerful form of social, like, I mean, they're so powerful. They have such an influence on the
Yeah.
way that you see the world.
And what people need to realize is that those Zionists out there that are running the show, they know this.
Yeah,
I mean,
they know it all. They know
all this.
exactly what makes us tick. They know
They're holding the keys to the
exactly-
car.
Yeah, and that's why when I see this shit, I'm like, fuck. Like, you got to pay attention to the pop culture.
Yeah, it's not
Otherwise,
like, it's not that we're crazy. It's not that we're crazy. They do use symbology. They do pass messages around. They do believe in this black magic, almost, if you would. It doesn't matter whether we believe it or not. They do.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter about the black magic even. It's just that they recognize what our strengths and our weaknesses are. So our
exactly.
weakness, and this is why I say, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I've been so heavy covering the LGBT, because I believe the LGBTQ and XWXYZ sort of thing is all about weakening humanity. It's that, to me, that's fundamentally what it's about. Like, they're trying to beat us down so that we're only these, we're basically narcissistic trannies that we're only concerned with our own immediate satisfaction, other than, and we can't even see how our long-term, how they're destroying us.
Yeah.
Like, as like they're making us into a subspecies. Like,
They really are. I agree.
They are.
Yeah.
What if you're a tranny, if you're like a lesbian tranny, what are you going to achieve with your life? You're going to have no kids, right? So you're going to have no family.
It's a dead end.
It's a dead end, and that's what they want.
That's
what they want you to be.
That's basically the termination of that lineage. It's a dead freaking end. It's a genetic dead end. And,
Go ahead, Rob. Are you there? Okay, we lost Rob for a second. We lost Rob! Don't worry. We're still here, though. I hope people can hear me. Rob, if you get back in, please let me know. I see this shit and I worry. And I don't want to worry. I don't want people to worry about, like, we should be, my belief is that we should be enjoying life, and that we should, I mean, we have to worry about things that are happening. Obviously, we have to worry about issues that are happening in the world. But ultimately, we should be concerned with ourselves and having families and, enjoying life. I mean, that's what we should all be endeavoring to achieve. And that's what worries me about what I see. And I see this, this hideous sort of attack on normalcy, on families, on and that's what I think that I'm seeing. Rob, you're back, right?
Yep. Hello.
Yeah, you're here. Great. Yeah.
I thought my internet might have cut out again.
I think that the Fear of the Walking Dead, that's why I'm like, when I watched this episode, I was like, ugh, because I feel like that is a lot of what I've been seeing, like a lot of, and I'm hoping, like I'm praying that normal folk come into a podcast like this, just not truthers, just regular folk, and they come in and they realize, hey, we're not crazy people. We're not here to, spook you or anything like that.
Yeah.
We're here because we're concerned and we care about what's happening to the average person. And I think that what we have here in these shows is, a direct sort of reflection of exactly what's happening within our own sort of civilization. And that's why it's so dark in many ways, because it is dark what's happening.
What is it? Art imitates life, life imitates art, that kind of a concept. And it's absolutely true. But you also have to throw in that little element of control, of programming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're called programs for a reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we have good people that are involved in these things. I like to think that way when I cover pop culture, that there are good people left in this world that are in positions of power that are actually concerned and actually disagree with what is happening and are trying to warn us and let us know. And we have to wonder. We have to all collectively wonder that what is the most popular thing that our civilization is consuming. If we think about American pop culture, well, it's The Walking Dead. So what is or it's Game of Thrones or something like that. If we say The Walking Dead, well, it's about what? It's and what is Rick trying to do? As you said before, it's like he is trying to preserve his family, right? The themes of motherhood, family. I mean, the fact that the character Maggie in the main show now is, I mean, you have to think somehow she's going to overcome and hopefully have her baby. But at the same time, you know, we're seeing for the most part, I mean, I don't know, the show itself, like I thought the season, The Walking Dead, were Herschel, and they actually went back. Now, it's after Herschel was beheaded by the governor.
Right.
If you remember, Robert, that we had a scene after Herschel had died where they went back, and it was Rick, and he was putting away his gun in order to plant cabbage and rhubarb and shit like that, right?
Yeah, I think it was Herschel that asked Rick to leave the gun behind.
Yes,
you don't need to take that with you. I think if I remember correctly,
exactly.
And it was like, yeah, leave the gun at home, Rick, and let's plant. You know, let's do some gardening, basically. Yeah, that I think that was symbolic of people's apathy. You know what I mean? Like of basically kind of getting comfortable. You know what I mean? You get too comfortable, you get complacent.
Yeah, I thought what they were doing there, like I thought that Herschel was actually giving the wisdom. He was saying, look, this is what you have to do. You have to put family first. You have to put away the gun. You have to pick up, you know, the shovel or whatever and go out and fucking start planting and getting back to what it is to be, you know, civilized, a human.
A lot of people don't think back to Dale. I really liked Dale. He was a good character.
Dale was the precursor to Herschel.
He was absolutely. Wow. It's funny if you go back, there's a lot of characters that are like, oh yeah, I forgot about that guy.
Yeah.
There's so many of them. Do an episode on the character we remember the least.
We talked about the difference between Dale and Shane, right? Had that they were diametrically opposed. So
yeah,
Shane
agreed.
was the sociopathic guy that was willing to do whatever was necessary to preserve the here and now, and Dale was the guy that was trying to preserve his humanity. No matter what, he was going to be a human being first. If that meant dying, if that meant whatever, that's what it meant. And Shane was like, you have to live in the here and now. So, yeah, I actually find, like, that's why I'm a little bit disappointed in The Walking Dead in the last season or two, is that they've kind of, I mean, they're overall, if you condense what they put out, it's great. But if you know, that's the problem.
Yeah. When you start ripping it out episode by episode, there's some really shitty ones.
Yeah, there's too much filler. There's way too much filler. That's why I'm liking the Fear of the Walking Dead and where they're going.
Yeah.
At least I don't like it in terms of what it means, but I like it in terms of what it's saying, in the fact that it's actually saying a lot more with a lot less. And that's why I think, like, a lot of the television critics and stuff that are going to write on this episode are going to it's going to go way over their heads. They're not going to see any of what we've talked about tonight. I think there's a shitload in this episode. I mean, we went through, I mean, you could go through every scene, the pocket full of posies, the fence scene, the scene with the peppers and the women, right? talking and like just there's so much in every scene in this particular episode that reflect on where we are right now and what are our priorities. And that's why I find it really interesting. It's like, ideally, I think a lot of us feel this way. Like we would like to extract ourselves, our families, the people that we love from this New World Order machine. We would like to pull ourselves away and build our own culture, build our own. And that's why I fucking resonate so strongly with this anthropologist George character, because he recognized all that. In one hand, I really liked the character, in the other hand, I hated him. Like I really liked him because he he understood, he was down to earth, he appreciated, like when he talked to the Maori, right? He recognized that the Cliff Curtis character, the guy that the Maori actor is playing, is actually Maori, right? He's and he's like, you come from a great culture, and that the fact that he went back to bury his grandmother, sort of thing. It's deep, folks. It's deep what they're saying, because this is what we've gotten away from. We've gotten away from families. We've gotten away from, taking care of our own. We've gotten away from building our own culture. It's like that's what I find about vacations and traveling. Like, I think traveling's cool and all that. Don't get me wrong. But, like, in a sense, it's like, what are you trying to get away from? It's like, if you look back through civilization, great cultures build their own sort of wonders and stuff like that. So you're
Right.
like, if you live in Tuscany, for instance, why would you want to go anywhere else? Right? It's beautiful, it's gorgeous, beautiful architecture, nice weather. It's like, well, why do I need to go on a vacation? I live in fucking paradise, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and we live in Canada. We're like, it's beautiful here. It's fucking cold.
Yeah.
Part of the year, sort of thing. Although you're in Mexico, so you bastard. But you know what I mean? Like, the whole idea, like, if you live in suburbia, you're in the neither here nor now. And suburbia, you're in this imaginary sort of existence. It's not real culture. It's not real. Like, you don't live in an area that you walk around with pride. You don't say, like, you don't walk into your supermarket or your drugstore or your corner store and say, well, this is a beautiful looking establishment and I love where I live and it's the greatest place ever and I never want to go anywhere. You're actually like, this is just functional. It's here and it serves a need, sort of thing. And that's where we've gotten away from, and that's what the anthropologist was talking about. Is like, you come from a great culture, the Maori. Like you're like you've kept your culture, and yet he hadn't. The character Travis there, played by the actor Cliff Curtis, right? The character, he has completely lost his culture. Like he doesn't identify at all with being Maori. He's like he's American, like he's lost as a person.
Yeah, he just learned something about himself. He did.
Yeah, the anthropologist knew more about him than he knew about himself. And that's why he's like, take the book. Take the book. Here it is. Take it. Learn something.
That was interesting. They won't be writing anymore anytime soon or something like that. There's a good question just asked in your chat there, and Casey asked if the world would be a better place without 90% of the internet. I would have to say yes, and seeing as the internet, aka the ARPANET, was a DARPA initiative for real-time monitoring of us. So yeah, I would say it would be a better place without it.
Yeah, but then that's an interesting question, because you can say, well, without 90% of the internet. But, what percent do you keep? And
here's the thing: is the internet, the backbone that it all sits on, isn't what we use. Like it's all
Yeah,
it's all in place to watch what we're doing.
I don't.
We were only allowed on the internet after in the 90s. It was 1967 that they started working on the ARPANET, and it was 89, 90 when it started rolling out with like America Online and all those.
I'll tell you this though, it's a double-edged sword.
It really is.
Don't think of it as evil. I mean, it's like technology, like science. Okay, science, you can build bombs, but you can also, build desalination plants or whatever. I mean, like you could, it's unlimited what you can do. It's a double-edged sword in the sense that
that's why they dumb down the population, because then you just basically surge the internet with cat pictures and like and garbage, Yeah,
but if you have the cat pictures and the garbage, you also have the good stuff as well. What we're at as a point, I mean, like I have really been wrestling with this sort of thought, where it's like, is it good? Is it bad? And it's none of the above. Essentially, it's something that it's a nebulous. It's like there's good, there's bad, and if you find it great, if you're of the right mind, you'll find what you're looking for. So the internet can be a wonderful thing, and it can be an awful thing, and it can be a moderate thing. It can be a lot of different things. It all depends on the user themselves. And if the user themselves is completely idiotic and immature and stupid and all these things, they're going to gravitate towards the stuff that is not going to change them. And if you are of the mindset that you want to learn, that you want to expand, well, then the sky's the limit. So I'm actually like, I have what did I cover the other day? Porn. And I've actually, I had a really, one of my better videos, a powerful video that was pulled. And then I got a community guideline strike dealing with the LGBT, which I was coming out and I was I was saying that I was like, they are trying to flood the internet with things that will destroy you mentally, physically.
Oh, absolutely.
And that you have to be of the right mindset to come in and be able to process it and be able to function. And that if you aren't, it can be a total detriment. So, and then the question comes in like, well, should they come in and regulate everything? Well, of course, the way the internet is structured is not by accident. It's by design. Like the fact that half of it's porn and that anybody could instantly find porn instantly. I mean, no matter what regulations or restrictions or program or software, you'll find it because
we came a long way since pay-per-view.
Yeah, half the internet is porn. So like people are gonna find it. So and then that's by design. I believe that the New World Order is weakening us through this. They're trying to destroy us. It's all part of destroying the family. And that's why I say, like, I don't have a family. Rob, I don't think you, I mean, like, an immediate family. I'm not married. I don't have kids.
Yeah, nor am I.
I think you're the same, right? Yeah. I think that's exactly how they want us. I think they want us all to be this way. And they're trying to tell us this is the best way to be, and this is exactly, and you should be proud of yourself and all this. And I think that is evil. I think what they're trying to do is convince people that having a family is a terrible thing. It's going to weigh you down. You're going to spend the rest of your life in servitude and all these things. And I think that's what we're seeing in the shows. I think we're seeing that a lot in the programming, and I think it's evil because I think, and I made that choice. Like I made the choice a long time ago that I wasn't going to have a family.
People just have to look at what's happening in other countries right now where family was important. I mean, what I mean to say is, like, here we've seen the destruction like of the nuclear family and blah blah blah, right? Well, meanwhile in some European countries they still had like 3 or 4 generations of people living under the same roof. But now that's starting that infection, that's what I call it. It's like an infection, and it's now passing on over to like through culture, through media and everything else. It's passing over into those European countries now and killing that family is home kind of mentality. And
because the strength, they recognize this. They recognize that the strength is in our lineage, in our bondage, in our in our families, like the nucleus family. So it's like, think of it this way. It's like you want to take control of kids' minds. You want to be able to program kids. Well, you want to be able to pull kids away from their parents because obviously the parents are the biggest influence.
Yeah, and you turn them into wine. Yeah, you turn them into.
Over with. It's done with. It's fucking over with. It's been done a long time ago.
Yeah. Now you got a bunch of whiny little shits running around.
Yeah. Nowadays, kids, by the time they're 5 years old, their parents are no longer the major influence.
No, they run to the state now. That's right.
Yeah. And they made the parents so dumb. And they are also using this perpetual sort of juvenile. I don't know what I could think of it. But
there was a video, and the guy was ex-KGB. I don't know if you've seen it, and I'd have to find the name. I have no idea. I just remember watching it last week, actually. And this KGB, he defected from the KGB and told us about how it takes about 2 generations. They do this thing. It's a long game. It's 2 generations of dumbing down people to create a divide between the old generation and the new one. And it's very, very interesting. I'll have to go find that because it's a very, very interesting.
They know all that. There's no doubt about it, and that's what they're using to weaken us. And so, like, that's one of the reasons why I've covered the LGBT so big, is because I see it, and I think you see it in all the shows. I think you see exactly what they're doing. That's why I am paying so much attention. I mean, in fact, Supreme Lord Commander, as a different sort of channel that I'm doing, is still really important because I'm getting into all the gaming, all the pop culture, and all that, and that's where so much of the social conditioning is actually happening, and it's such an important thing for us all to be cognizant.
You're old enough to remember this, Jeff. Remember that movie, The Last Starfighter?
Mm-hmm.
Where a video game, for you guys that are listening here, it's about a video game that came out in an arcade. If you ever remember what those are.
They were great.
Right. But anyway, this guy, he ends up getting a top score in some Starfighter game. And he's actually been being trained this whole time to actually fly a real one in this big galactic battle that's taking place. And it's funny because I saw this when I was a kid and went, holy crap, that's kind of a interesting kind of a way to kind of push the story. But it's happening right now. I mean, all these 3D flying games and simulators, and you jazz it up with robotics and monsters and whatever, but the end result is the same. You're learning 3D spatial skills, and this is important because I think everyone's being trained for that kind of a, future, I guess you could say. Like they're being conscripted without their knowledge, basically.
Yeah, in fact, I haven't seen the movie, but if you read the book Ender's Game,
saw that.
Ender's Game is very similar to The Last Starfighter in a sense. It's like a young child prodigy who is supposedly doing all these computer simulations of war strategy, but he's actually fighting real battles. You don't realize that until the end of the book.
Spoiler alert.
But yeah, I think we're that's why it's very important. We're doing these podcasts. I think they're very important. I think it's very important for people like us to cover what is being presented in pop culture. I think we can reach a lot more people. So I'm very excited about the stuff that we're doing here, and I'm really excited about this podcast, which we don't even have a real official name for.
No, we don't.
But I mean, we have the right chemistry and the right people. We have a great audience, and we're going to cover.
I don't watch TV, but I watch a shit ton of movies.
Yeah, so we're going to cover. Yeah, we're going to do. Rob, I'm hoping you'll be interested in doing a Mad Max podcast.
Sure. I'm down for
doing
that.
all the Mad Max, but I'm looking forward to doing Game of Thrones. Obviously, I want to be all over that right when it comes out, and Walking Dead. I Rob, I don't know if you've seen it, but I would highly recommend checking out Daredevil. Wow, that's
The
a
new one? Is it a new movie?
No, it's a show.
A show. Oh, they did it as a show. That's right. Yeah, I haven't caught that yet.
Oh, it's so good. They're doing tremendous. So like I've only cover a few of these. I only see a few of them, but I'm like, yeah, man, I'm like watching a lot of these or seeing them here and there, and I'm like, wow, there's a lot of really important shit that's going into our pop culture that people like us would have a unique perspective. We're not going to give you all the answers, but we're going to come in and we're going to see some of what's going on, and I think that could really help a lot of people out there. And you know what? It's in the era right now. We are in somewhat of a golden age when it comes to pop culture. There are a lot, or at least a few, very terrific shows that we can all kind of come together and watch and consume and then process. And if we can process it properly and see what they're showing in these things, I think that we can contribute meaningfully to the discussion and maybe help people make better decisions with their lives. So I'm glad that we did this podcast tonight. I'm going to be closing out now, but I really feel that this was a very deep episode of Fear the Walking Dead. In fact, I would go as far to say as this episode, if you analyze it properly and you see exactly what it's saying, that it's possibly one of the deepest episodes in all the Walking Dead episodes that have ever been aired.
I would like to get somebody like Nicholson 1968 or something to come and join us for one of these, because he's really, really, really good at the
absolutely. I would be yeah, and he's a friend too. I mean, I'd be all in favor of that. Bringing in different people every week to come in and give us some insight and stuff like that. Yeah, and I think, man, it's awesome. Love doing this. It's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so much, everyone in the audience. You guys are terrific. We're building something here, so we're trying to build something where I think that we can be accessible to the mainstream, but at the same time, you know, reach people that are already very much in tune with a lot of what we're talking about.
Somebody in the chat said earlier, they were like, yeah, it's really hard to be a truther and also be a movie buff, because, like, you know, you got to separate yourself from it sometimes. But, you know,
yeah, well, that's you know,
nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a good show, but you got to know when the programming is there.
I'm definitely moving over to this. So, like, I mean, people have to realize that for me, it's somewhere where I'm going. And I'm, you know, like, I've done the, you know, all the truthing stuff for years and years and years. And I have a lot of experience and a lot of, you know, I like to say wisdom from doing that kind of stuff. And I'm going to try to apply it to this now and move into this area and try to reach a bigger audience and try to bring in a lot more people. And I think that we can have podcasts, because I've seen podcasts on The Walking Dead, and I've seen podcasts on Game of Thrones and stuff like that. And I see that these people just don't understand what's going on. They don't understand what's being shown, and they can't relate it to what is happening right now. And I think that's where we can come in, you know, you know, just come in and offer a completely different perspective and really try to open people's minds to what is going on and relate it to real life and have fun. I mean, the most important thing too, you got to have fun. I mean, we started off the podcast and we talked about how one of our friends just suffered a terrible loss. Somebody, you know, that died tragically young. You know, you got to enjoy every single day. And, you know, for me, you know, I really try to bring fun into the shows. That's why I love working with Rob, because he's just a blast to work with. Just such a good-natured guy. Press Reset, what a great guy. All the people that we work with, Rob, tremendous people.
Yeah,
And
no, I
it's so
agree.
much fun to do this. So we're gonna kick ass, folks. We're gonna try to make one of the best entertainment podcasts that we can out there and hit this shit. So I think Sunday night will be if it's good with Rob, if it's good with Press, I think it's a great night for us to do this
Hey,
podcast.
it's the old rapid fire slot.
Yeah, exactly. So with that being said, this is Supreme Lord Commander Robert J. Morris. I give you a chance to promote yourself and tell people where they can reach you. And
well, you can find me. I am on Facebook. I'm on YouTube, Robert J. Morris. Yeah, come check my channel out. I do a lot of different stuff. I'm working with Mary down in Mexico right now, and we're working with patients down here. So I'm covering a lot of that stuff as I go. And it's quite a busy adventure.
Yeah,
so I really appreciate allowing me to take a break and talk about something that's not related to medicine for a couple hours, and then back to work I go.
Awesome, wonderful. So and Press Reset Earth, of course. If you guys are not subscribed, please check out Press Reset Earth. He is one of the best channels on YouTube. So yeah, we'll be back for sure next Sunday, and we will be covering, of course, Sunday seems to be the big day, Rob, for a lot of these shows. So I'm almost positive that Game of Thrones runs on Sundays at 9:00. So as soon as Game of Thrones starts up, we will be doing Game of Thrones podcast. And I'm hoping to do movie podcast as well. As I said, I'm really looking forward to doing a Mad Max and a lot of other ones that have been suggested. Doing
we should do something like take 3 movies and cover all 3 of them. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, there's actually 4 if we consider the remake and the
with Mad Max,
yeah. I would love to do that. I love those films. I'm also somebody that's really into film and film production and all that. So I'm not I love to look at the scenes themselves and break them down, how they're done and all that. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for coming in to watch the show. It's super late. We still got like 40 people watching. It's awesome. You guys are the best. So we will see you again next week here on Supreme Lord Commander. Much love to you all. Have a wonderful evening.